A very good morning and a very warm welcome to the final day of action here at Les Ciao4 de Pau in the southwest of France. As you can see on the screens, another beautiful sunny day here in the southwest of France, the unique home of 5-star eventing and 4-star single carriage driving. Well, this afternoon we'll be bringing you all the action from the final phase of the eventing, the show jumping. But this morning we will turn our attention once again to the 4-star single carriage driving. You're watching a magnificent shot there of the area of Pau that is synonymous with the horse. We've mentioned the eventing, we've mentioned the carriage driving, but of course so well known for the racing as well. And here at Domaine de Serre, it is the park that we now see that was used yesterday afternoon for the cross-country, for the eventing. And we see here some of the obstacles for the marathon this morning for the 4-star single carriage driving. And I'm delighted that I'm joined here once again here in the commentary box by James Rooney. James, a British FEI eventing judge and an FEI carriage driving judge, and I know that you were at Osberton recently. In fact, you've had a very busy time, haven't you, both eventing and carriage driving, James?
Yes, good morning, Nick. Indeed, we have a very busy time, and we are looking forward to a top-class competition this morning. All things looking good. The weather is smiling on us, and what a panoramic view.
What a panoramic view we have, as just on top of those we see the results from the cones, after the first two phases. The cone results, Laurent Philippot with Galan, 42.7 with a clear round. Then we move to fifth, just going down the list, Marie-Tige Fortino for Germany. Netherlands in 8th place there, Joep Gummers with Bandit 55.56. 9th, Cristiano Sivindini with Handro 56.63. Italy. Then Luxembourg, Franz Schilt, Sanremo Royal 61.10. Then for Spain again, Ana Munoz San Fernandez with Sunny Boy W 63.54. Really showing the international top-class lineup here in the single carriage driving. Then Finland, Talviki Jorvanen and Dancer T 17th, 63.94. Then down to France, two of the home members, Jean-Michel Olive on 68.53, Magalia Elu and Atomo 68.9. Then Finland once again with Lika Kalalathi. Well, more staggering shots of the Pau region, and we are now live in the park with our first horse out on cross-country. It is the marathon is the cross-country version of eventing, and the increased significance this year of the huge entry for the single carriage driving here at Pau is that next year Pau will be hosting the single carriage driving World Championships. James, we have seven obstacles in the marathon, each which are timed separately, some of which have the added penalty risk of actually dislodging parts of the obstacle, which will incur extra points. And I'll let you, James, just talk a little bit through the technicalities of this as we see Gregor and Katia Monnier-Marais for Switzerland, our first driver and horse out on course who have a ranking of 26th and a score of 70.54 after a first two-phase combined score.
Yes, thank you, Nick. They're just about to enter obstacle 1, which they will do as quickly as possible, because every second inside the obstacle starts occurring penalties. And obstacle 1 has 3 dislodgeable elements, which they will endeavour to leave standing. If they do knock one down, it'll add 2 penalties to their total score. So the first obstacle, they're taking it fairly cautiously. We'll see a lot quicker than that later in the day. And then going quite wide, just getting the horse settled in obstacle 1. Another gallop out, and the clock will stop for that time.
And a rest in between each of the obstacles of around about 1 kilometre. I say a rest from the actual obstacles where the carriages and the horse then go on an approximately a 1 kilometre track phase, James.
Yes, this section with the obstacles is just over 6.5 kilometres, and that they have to maintain an average speed. If they're too slow or too fast, they will incur penalties, and that's in addition to the penalties they occur in each obstacle. So they will try and maintain an average speed and incur no further penalties for the whole of the section B.
And 3 phases for this 4-star single carriage driving. The dressage, very well, it is the same as the dressage for the eventing. Then the cone section here yesterday here in the main arena, which is very similar to the show jumping phase in eventing, and then to the marathon, as mentioned earlier, equivalent to the cross country in eventing.
That is correct. There is a certain mirror imaging between eventing and carriage driving.
And for the cones yesterday, prizes awarded as it's all part of the same competition, but as though it was a separate competition within itself.
Yeah, that's certain. With carriage driving, each section has its own prizes, and then all 3 together, that's the final result for medal placings and team placings.
Well, now we're at obstacle 3 in the water. You can see the canard, the spruce green canard there in the water, part of the several jumping efforts in and out of that first water yesterday for the 5-star eventing. Beautifully designed by Pierre Michelet yesterday afternoon, but we are concentrating this morning on this 4-star marathon for the single carriage driving at obstacle 3. Now moved away from that.
See how organised and beautifully presented obstacle 4 was.
Yeah, a shot there of obstacle number 4. Well, the team standings, France leading the way after the first 2 phases, Germany in second and the Netherlands in third. Michel Vinot now with Zorro for France, ranked 37 with a first 2 phase combined score of 79.31. And you can hear the voices there from the carriage driver, from the driver. And so important, we were talking about this yesterday. This is Michel Vinot with Zorro. And Michel, very evident with those voice commands, which are absolutely crucial. They are so important in all horse sport disciplines, but particularly in the discipline of carriage driving, whether it's single carriage driving, doubles, or the full team.
Here we have Katia Monnier-Marais, our first horse on the marathon in obstacle 2.
Yeah, we are actually with our first
now she'll
house
give the horse a little break.
Katia Monnier-Marais. Katia Monnier-Marais, our first combination out from a family who breeds Swiss horses. Her father starting driving in 1994, Katia Monnier-Marais. We are very much here. Well, now we're going to move to the final obstacle, which is obstacle 7 here in the arena. Well, a very unique sport, carriage driving, and certainly on the ascendancy in the world, throughout the world. and particularly here in Europe, James.
Yes, it's becoming very, very popular as the sport develops. The technology keeps advancing, and things get a little bit quicker, a little more slick, and it's a great adrenaline buzz too.
Yeah, we saw how exciting it was yesterday in the cones here in the main arena, and it will of course get ever more exciting as we progress through the marathon. You're looking at obstacle number 7, the final of the obstacles, where the horses weave their way, pulling that carriage in and out of the obstacle itself. Several of these obstacles have the further or the added possible penalty.
And here we have Katrin Monnier-Marais for Switzerland. The horse was a little bit cautious going into the water. The course designers working together, the eventing and the carriage driving, using the same area for both water obstacles. It's absolutely fantastic, Nick.
Yeah, it is amazing. Obviously, we see this each year when we look at this unique competition of 4-star carriage driving. The 4-star, the highest level of FEI carriage driving, alongside the highest level of eventing at the 5-star, and using these same areas, as you see James, quite phenomenal. And the design by Pierre Michelet, and the designer of the cross country and the designer of the marathon for the carriage driving, coming together, working together, and producing the amazing courses that we see in this beautiful setting. And to see that water with both the canard, the swan in the middle there, and the obstacle for the carriage driving, quite unique and quite wonderful.
Well, yes, indeed. We're looking at Katja in that obstacle number 3. The horse was a little bit slow. He enjoyed paddling, I think. We'll see much, much faster later on.
Yeah, enjoying the early mornings, paddle through the water in the sunshine.
And this looks like Michel Vigneault from Chablis in France.
Michel Vigneault from Chablis started to drive for pleasure in 1990 when he was introduced to the sport by a friend.
This one is a little bit like a maze as you look at it, isn't it? What the carriage drivers have to do is go through gates in a sequence, and they are labelled A to F, so A, B, C, D, E, F. And they must go through them in that order. If they don't, they will incur penalties.
Just nudging part of that obstacle as they left there. You can see the 2 left wheels of that carriage just being raised off the ground a little as they hit the wooden, a very solid wooden obstacle.
Another competitor started with a big grey horse. I'm guessing it's Vince Dobritzberg.
And we were talking about technology yesterday, James, for these carriages, how they're becoming more and more sophisticated all the time. Do we see different carriages for the different phases?
Yes, we do. Here, if we look at the carriage, it's got extendable shafts, so they they go with the horse. We see them along with the saddle area. Also, you can see that the carriage itself is slightly reinforced to withstand the odd little touch it might get. The backstepper has a pivotal role in the obstacles. They're allowed to move from side to side, and they can actually bump the carriage if you get to change the trajectory a little bit to make sure, or try and make sure it doesn't hit anything. That was very smooth from Vincenz Dobritzberger.
For Austria, Vincenz Dobritzberger got involved, another to get involved through his parents. So many of these drivers, it's very much in their blood, and very much Lipizzaner breeding there, with the Austrian horse, the grey, moving away from us. Well, now we're at obstacle number 4, just waiting for the next horse to come through.
One of the skills here is for the driver and the backstepper is to remember the sequence of gates and to be as quick as possible. And they come up very, very fast. We probably will, during the day, see the odd person a little confused.
Yes, when I was walking the courses, I should say, it was very obvious how the drivers. We're now looking at obstacle 5, and this really highlights what I'm really just saying is we saw the drivers walking several times through the passage of the obstacle as we move back to obstacle number 4. James saying that one or two of the drivers may, unsurprisingly, get a little confused as the obstacles progress. Here we are with Katia Monnier-Marais with Gregor, the first combination who were out this morning.
And you can see she's taking it quite fairly demurely to make sure that she gets the right gait sequence. And watch the back stepper leaning in to the direction of travel.
Yeah, they were nice and steady, but went well through the water. The obstacle that was in the water, and you're saying here again, good, steady rhythm. We will see quicker later on.
And you can see by the way the horse is reacting there, it's actually quite tight in there. The horse has to be very confident in what the driver's asking.
And going through the timing there at the end of that particular obstacle. Well, now we move back again to Michel Vinon for France with Zorro in that 37th place after the combined score from phases A and C, 79.31.
Very swiftly out of obstacle 3, looking to be much quicker through the water than the previous competitor.
And we see so many different types of horses coming forwards, don't we, for this single carriage driving. Perhaps a more uniform stamp of horse for certainly for the teams that we see, but lots of different breeds and types here for the single carriage driving.
Oh, absolutely, and each with their own individual talents and merits. And here we have a young driver from Austria who's very quick. You see the turns, like we did yesterday in the cones. Here the turns would be quicker. And the speed asked for.
Vinces Dobretsberger for Austria with Conversano Salo.
And sometimes, just like there, you get a horse that's overreacting and thinks to go one way, and actually the driver needs to go the other. So lost a little bit of momentum there.
And you'll see the groom on the back there. This is Weiner Razia.
Yeah, watch the groom on the back stepper, quite carefully, as he knows which way the horse should go. So he's going to lean that way and make sure that the carriage doesn't hit any of the posts.
This is a striking grey, isn't it?
Yeah, he's keeping up a good pace all the way.
This is for Spain, Francisco Alester Maloth.
The ground preparation, everything else here is absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, very much looking forwards to the World Championships here next year at Po for the single carriage driving as they really extend that canter gate going through the timing gear.
Yes, he's got his foot on the accelerator.
Well, the crowd's building already. We are fairly sure that we had record crowds here yesterday. Those numbers just being counted up and officially affirmed yesterday evening, early yesterday evening, but huge crowds here yesterday for not just for the 5-star eventing yesterday afternoon, but here in the arena, in the grandstands around the arena for the 4-star carriage driving cones. And the beautiful day obviously helping, but it is increasingly becoming such an important event down here in the southwest of France, and the crowds flocking from far and wide in France, obviously as well from around the world, and that was very evident in the huge crowds here in the arena and out on course, and those crowds starting to build once again here on the final day of action at Les 5 Étoiles de Po 2019.
Here we have our first out on the course, going into obstacle 5, where there are many different options here. One can actually do this this whole obstacle without going up on the mound, or we can turn and go crisscross across the mound, which takes a lot of energy and power.
And we're looking at our first combination who came forwards this morning. Katia Monnier-Marais with Gregor for Switzerland. The skill, particularly when we see these gradients on these mounts, the skill required by the groom is absolutely critical to the performance, isn't it, through these obstacles?
Oh, most definitely. And you can see there that the horse struggled a little to get to the top of the mound. So all the time, she's requiring a lot of speed and power. That was very smooth.
Very smooth. Very well done.
You notice these carriages compared to yesterday's cones, the centre of gravity is much lower, so they can go quicker around the corners and stay well balanced.
Well, now we're back with Austria's Vinces Dorpesberger and Conversano Salo.
Obstacle number 3. A lot of this is in the water. Water obstacles, you can see the amount of drag there is on the carriage. It's a lot for the horse to pull through and requires a lot of energy and a lot of strength. And with 2 water obstacles, these horses need to be fit.
The versatility of the horse, the partnership of horse and driver in this case, absolutely crucial, but so evident as we see the Austrian team going through the water.
Yeah, that was very slick.
Understanding of the paramount importance. Well, we see Michel Vino, Zorro, and we see the partnership there as maybe, am I right in saying, just overshot that a little bit, and Michel having to go into reverse with Zorro?
Absolutely. So he didn't go through a gate in the wrong sequence, so he reversed, and Zorro came right back. So he didn't lose much time, and he's incurred no further penalties, which is very important, because doing a gate in the wrong sequence incurs 20 penalties, which is very expensive.
Incredible technique, understanding, and the confidence that these horses have in not just the driver but the groom as well is phenomenal. Well,
as I said earlier, you'll find some drivers getting a little confused where they go, especially in this particular obstacle. And it looks like he may have lost his way a little.
And you can see the different elements of the obstacle with the letters as they would be in eventing.
Yes, in this particular obstacle, they go from A through to F in that sequence without going through anyone out of sequence.
And we should just say as well, James, that you are the chef d'équipe here for our single British competitor, but we will have a team here for the World Championships next year.
Yes. Yeah.
Now at fence number 6.
Yes. And this is our first horse out, who was quite slow and cautious in the first one, in the first water. He's a little bit scared of the people, believe it or not, and doesn't know where to go. And there, the back stepper moving the carriage around, so it makes it easier for the horse.
Well, Gregor almost saying, don't hurry me too much, I'm enjoying this, through the water this morning.
Is that a cool water?
The cool water, absolutely. Well, super slow-mo pictures now of that fence knock, or that obstacle knock that we saw a little earlier, and moving away.
And that will incur 2 penalties, 2 extra penalties for dislodging that ball.
So it's all about penalties and minimising the penalties, as we were saying before we came on air, James, as we would see in eventing, and minimising those. And, of course, penalties incurred through the different timed obstacles, but we want to minimise them, and those extra penalties incurred for dislodging certain elements of the obstacles at certain of the numbered obstacles.
Yeah, that can be very expensive. They will do as much as possible so as not to incur those, to leave all the balls standing. That was very quick, and you can see the back stepper's rather wet.
But I'm sure having a super time. He's smiling. It must be hugely exhilarating doing this.
It is, yes, there's a great adrenaline buzz, even being on the back step.
I'm sure.
And it's a very inclusive sport, so you cannot do it by yourself.
Yeah, very much the team, the three-way team here between the horse, the driver and the groom. And some of these teams having more than one designated groom for the duration of the competition.
And this is Michel Vigneault, just
Fence number 5 at fence number 5, Michel Vigneault.
a lot more slick than obstacle 4, so he's regained his confidence. Obstacle 2. That's very quick so far.
Well, the all-important voice aid very much to the fore here. I'm sure that you can all hear that. And wherever you're joining us in the world, we're delighted you're with us for the final day's action here at the 2019 Les Cinq Étoiles de Pau. We are watching for Spain now. Jose Ignacio Solano Marti with Dagobert, ranked number 44, coming here after the first 2 phases into the final marathon phase. And something else you were saying a little earlier, James, is that you can actually get eliminated in the cones but still come forwards to the marathon.
You can indeed. But currently in shot is Great Britain, Lucy McGill with Zarano in obstacle 1. And he's a powerful horse. You can see covering the ground, waiting for instructions.
Yeah, and that caption just coming up now of Lucy McGill and Zarano. This is the team that you train. Lucy, you train?
Yes, absolutely. Looking forward to this section always. And the first obstacle, always use it as a warm-up and feel how the horse is for the day, and then start putting pressure on. There we go, and a gallop out. Well driven, Lucy.
Yeah, well driven. What a big, powerful, impressive-looking horse he is at the front of that carriage.
And Michel Vigneault once again. He should be going to obstacle 6, I'm guessing, which is the second water.
So in between all these obstacles, the track phase, and they have to arrive on time, don't they? They can't be too early, they can't be too late.
Indeed. Either early or late, they will incur further penalties, which they don't wish to have.
Certainly not at the very highest levels of single carriage driving, which this is, the 4-star level, the CAIO 4-star HI PO single carriage driving competition. Huge entries this year, over 40 entries.
Absolutely a fantastic support for this event, this test event for next year's World Championships.
10 teams: France, Germany, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, Switzerland, Italy, Finland, Spain and Austria, all with 3 members in those teams taking part, in addition to several single member competitors from nations, including Lucy Gill from Great Britain.
Well, indeed, and there we saw Michel Vigneault getting the angle slightly wrong, and the backstepper having to move the carriage out of the way so the horse could actually get past. Again, it's quite tight. You can see the horse backing off the public. Well driven.
Well, now we see our combination. We'll just wait for the caption, but I'm pretty sure this is was our first combination out. It is Katia, Monnier, Marais and Gregor coming to number 7, the final obstacle here in the main arena.
And she's got a lot more speed going than obstacle 6. He's obviously regained his composure. Steering isn't always as it should be. If you notice, he bashed into one of those boxes. There's a lot for the horse to take in. Very nearly finished. This is the last obstacle. There. She's done her job.
So our first horse to complete all 3 phases, the dressage, the cones, and then finishing off the marathon here once again in the main arena with that obstacle number 7.
And Lucy McGill here in obstacle 2. This is a really big horse. You'll find that going through this sort of a maze, he's got to be very agile and very obedient, because they're very tight turns, as you see there. and he's keeping up a good rate of a really good pace. And you can see by his ears, he's listening the whole time. Looks very quick.
Looks very smooth to me.
And leaving the balls up.
Well, now we move to obstacle number 3 as Lucy moves on to the tracks, having negotiated obstacle number 2. And now we are back with Spain's Jose Ignacio Salata Marti, giving that obstacle a good knock as they went past.
This is first time in the water, and you can see as well, yes, another horse backing off the crowd. Because it is a huge atmosphere for some horses. Very enthusiastic in his exhortations.
Great vocal commands. Well, now the very high-stepping chestnut. This is Matteo Cremella for Italy with Cavoro, 29th place, coming into the third and final phase, having accumulated 73.57 penalties in phases A and C.
And as we can see here, he's got his foot on the accelerator. This is very quick. But pushing it this close to the edge, he's got to be very correct. If he's not absolutely right, it can go pear-shaped very quickly.
Well, now we're back with pictures coming into the arena.
Michel Vigneault coming to the last obstacle.
Michel Vigneault for France with Zorro.
This is a really well-designed last obstacle. It's nice and open, so you can go as fast, or you can make it, if your horse needs a little confidence, you can give it the confidence, but you can go very fast.
It's interesting.
He's trying.
Yeah, and it's interesting you're saying about the confidence. This is the highest level of single carriage driving in the world. We talked about that yesterday afternoon with our guests for the 5-star eventing. It is all relative to the level, and it's about the confidence, isn't it, that the horse has in what you're asking it to do, and continuing to build that confidence through the course of a cross-country or marathon phase.
Oh, most definitely. And as we've seen this morning, a few horses that, because it's such a huge atmosphere here, and a lot of horses don't get exposed to this very often. And we saw in the water some horses reacting to that. And here we have the Spanish chap going up and down the mound rather quickly in obstacle 5. This looks very slick indeed. The balance necessary, and the horse is listening to the driver all the time.
Weaving their way in and around and up and down the obstacle at 5, Francisco Ballesteros.
Be happy with that. Obstacle 4.
And the horse's hind legs just going from underneath it. Up again. And the yellow ball coming off the top of part of that obstacle. So that will be a further 2 penalties.
Well, as I said before, he's like Michel Vigneault had a little negotiation problem here. And this Matteo Cremella, a little bit the same. And the horse not quite sure, so losing a bit of confidence and then sliding.
Seem to have picked up the rhythm once again as they head for the time at the end of that obstacle, the timing gate at the end of that obstacle.
Obstacle 1 once more. See how quickly that horse went round the turn. This is one of the I think, Freiburger horses.
Yep.
And how quick it can, it's almost scuttle around the turns compared to some of the bigger horses. This is very quick.
Well, this is Jonathan Mewis and Happy de Sirissier for Belgium, ranked 36, 78.74 coming into this final phase. Phases A and C, that is correct, A and C, the first two phases, because this year we ran the cones yesterday before the marathon.
And Lucy McGill into obstacle 3, the first of the two waters. Yeah, the horse had a peek at and had a look at the audience watching, the great crowd watching. But thankfully, didn't overreact.
What a fine-looking horse this is, James. So proud, elegant.
Oh yeah, he wants
powerful.
To please.
Seamlessly out of the water.
Well
so
done, Lucy. Excellent.
Lucy Gill for Great Britain, going well. As we move to Spain once again. In fact,
in obstacle 6 by the looks of things. Still got lots of power. He did obstacle 5, the mound, went up and down really well. He's quite smooth here.
Jabonero Lege, the horse for Francisco Ballestero Maloth. Powering into the water.
And you can see they're all finding that particular one quite tight.
And yet he kept the canter gait, kept the rhythm.
Yeah, that's very smooth, very slick indeed. The amount of pull you can, that horse needs to do to pull that carriage through that deep water.
The drag looks immense.
Yeah, takes a lot of energy. And it's a long, long way in the water.
A superb rhythm through that water.
Now he'll probably give his horse a little walk for 10 or 15 seconds just to recover and regain the thoughts.
And that stretch of water we saw there for the single carriage horses in the marathon, exactly the same as the third water yesterday for the eventers.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same. We're now back with the British driver.
Well, Lucy will be pleased. He's starting to learn how to do changes.
And they compete at the medium dressage level, don't they, when the horse isn't in the carriage?
Yes, indeed. Winter project is to go up to advanced medium and put flying changes in ridden dressage.
And when a horse is with you like this, it is very special, isn't it, that can perform at the very highest levels of world single carriage driving and then lend itself to ridden dressage.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a horse like him who just wants to please. See, lost a little bit of balance there too. Obstacle 4, quite slippery. Now we've got Mateo Cremella for Spain, who was really quick through obstacle 1 we saw.
Obstacle 4 through the water.
Obstacle 3. 3 and 6 are the waters.
We have now just come, it has moved, my apologies there, to, as we can see at the caption, it has moved it to fence number 3.
That was very slick indeed. Kept a good pace throughout that.
Well, now the next competitor to come forwards into the arena. And it is for Austria, Vinzenz Dobretzberger with Conversano Salo.
This one will be very interesting. I think he'll come in and he'll keep a good gallop up the whole way round.
There are away through this final obstacle.
Horse is a really bouncy canter, waiting for instructions, keeping the canter flying change twice there. This is very smooth, very slick indeed.
Another flying change.
And keeping the canter, keeping the momentum up, losing no time at all.
And you really see the similarities, don't you, with all the other disciplines in equestrian sport with these flying changes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. This horse is so well trained. And then accelerate out. Well driven, very well driven.
Super end. And finishing that 7th obstacle, Austria's Vinzenz Dobretzberger with Conversano Salo.
It looks like obstacle 2 once more. See the brilliant sunshine here. Jonathan Mewes for Belgium. A little bit of a misunderstanding there. Quickly fixed. See, this little horse is just waiting for instructions and very, very swift on his turns.
Jonathan Mewes with Happy de Siriasier. 2 grooms, including Nathanael Zamano.
Lucy into obstacle 5. And her thoughts were to go as few times as possible over the mound, which is very doable.
Yes, you were mentioning earlier that the way this is set up, you can literally avoid the mounds.
Yeah, there are many different options. In each of these obstacles, it's up to the drivers to actually plan their routes. It's not the same for everyone, believe it or not. She's been on the mound once.
Well, just worth mentioning as we watch Lucy that the leader of the leader in the clubhouse overnight after the first 2 favours, Laura Philippot for Belgium with a total point score of 42.77. Jose Inako Solana Martinao with Dagobert.
The horse has got a little tired. Still plenty of running, but enjoying paddling in the water, the cool water.
Now to Etienne Luez and Chianti de la Vallée, ranked number 43, with that combined first 2-face score of 85.28.
In obstacle 1,
Alors, bonjour Katia, vous êtes la première à vous être élancée sur ce marathon. Comment est-ce que vous avez trouvé cette épreuve?
Alors, un joli marathon avec de jolies difficultés. J'ai eu quelques difficultés dans le numéro 6, le guet Sudlot. Mon cheval n'était pas d'accord de faire la E et la F, mais sinon, dans l'ensemble, plutôt bien.
Bon, super. En tout cas, belle performance. Et puis, on vous souhaite bon courage pour la suite. Bonne journée. Au revoir.
oh dear, a slight loss of direction and the ball knocked down. So she's got to go and redo. Well done.
Etienne Louise, who started out as a rider, switched to carriage driving in 2008 after an unfortunate riding accident. And in the Belgian Cup for carriage driving, won that prestigious trophy in 2015 and 16.
And someone else into obstacle 4, which we've seen a few people have orienteering problems. And the surface is a little bit slick sometimes too.
Yeah, we've seen that on a couple of occasions, haven't we? The slickness of it. Matteo Cremella and Cavaro ranked 29. As they continue to make their way through the obstacle at 4. 7 obstacles on this marathon course this morning here for the final phase of the CAIO 4-star single carriage driving.
You can see in obstacle 4 that because each gate is very, very similar, it can be a little confusing for horse and driver. And Lucy in obstacle number 6, the second water. This is Lucy McGill for Great Britain.
Yeah, Lucy McGill for Great Britain, as we were saying earlier, trained by my co-commentator here in the live stream booth, James Rooney.
And he's got plenty of energy left for obstacle 6, just this one, and then the last one, obstacle 7 in the arena. It'd be very interesting having a debrief later and see how she felt. See, 5 kilometres. So he's 1 more kilometre and a kilometre and a half to go before finish. It's almost jumped out of the water there. That was obstacle number 3.
We're now moving once again to a different obstacle. Our crowd's waiting for the next horse to come through, expectantly waiting here in the beautiful sunshine. You can probably just make out in the distance the Pyrenees mountains behind the tree line with the snow top from the rain that we had at the lower levels earlier on in the week, which just made the ground perfect yesterday for the 5-star eventing. But we have certainly experienced warm temperatures yesterday and on Friday, the second day of dressage for both the carriage driving and the 5-star eventing.
And obstacle 5, up and down that hill. He was really quick through the previous 3 obstacles we've seen him in. And very vocal in his exhortations. See occasionally the back of the carriage sliding, he's putting that much power into the turns. Horse has lots of energy, still offering.
Wanting to please, offering so much, these horses, Matteo Crimello and Cavaro, as they move away from their latest obstacle. Well, now we're back in the arena.
Yeah, for
we
Italy.
Are back with the Italian, with the Spanish combination of Dagobert pulling that carriage, Jose Ignacio Salona Marti in the driving seat.
So yeah, these competitors set off at intervals of 4 minutes apart. So generally speaking, we shouldn't see anyone catch up with anyone else.
Yes, and of course, if I can just compare that again to eventing, that is obviously what we always want to achieve in eventing at whatever level. Incidents on the course, and then obviously things are stopped, time's taken. Well, back out in the country once again, and at obstacle number 2, just giving that wooden post a nudge as they went past. Etienne Luez for Belgium with Chianti de la Vallée, weaving their way through.
And we saw these in obstacle 1 being quite cautious. Not really sure about which way to go, so taking their time.
And is that, James, the driver, well, obviously the driver's thinking hard about which way to go, but is that the driver unsure, or is it the horse just needing that reassurance and therefore waiting and just going steadily and waiting for the instructions?
It looks like the horse isn't taking the driver very forward. He's not confident, so then it's harder to drive.
Yeah, we can see the horse there not really taking the contact.
No. So it's much harder to drive and possibly has to go longer.
In order to achieve the desired result.
Yeah.
So the Belgian driver, groom and horse through. Well, now we're back with Matteo Crimello and Cavaro.
On the last water, obstacle number 6.
It's high-stepping chestnut with that white blaze down the centre of its face.
He's keeping up a good rate of knots. Well balanced, good acceleration.
See the flying change again there.
And we'll see how he negotiates these 2. I did wonder about this. It's the people, and he can't see where to go. He's got blinkers on, so they need to turn his head to the left. That's it. That's a shame, isn't it? Now he's got another one of those to do, also on the left rein, also into the crowd.
Yes, as James was saying there, just at the previous part of this obstacle, the horse being asked to go forward, but what it could see was a wall in front of it. And before its head was turned to the left with those blinkers on, it couldn't see the way out.
Precisely. And we got Maureen Thibaut McCaw for Luxembourg into obstacle 1.
Valentimo is the horse, ranked 30 coming into this final phase. 74.43, the score from those first two phases.
Well,
Nice trot this horse has, nice canter as well, but good trot, we saw that there, really covering the ground in the trot at during the first part of this obstacle.
indeed, and also the changes are there. And like Lucy McGill, Lucy's husband Nick is on the back. Here, Maureen has her husband Vern on the back for the marathon.
And Maureen Thibaut McCaw sitting in 39th place after the scores from the first two phases.
There we have Lucy McGill heading into the final obstacle, obstacle 7 behind us here in the main arena.
Lucy McGill for Great Britain, with the horse that she competes on in the dressage at the medium level. As James was saying, that is their project for the winter, to go up a level in the dressage, but it's all about this final obstacle here, obstacle number 7 in the arena for the 4-star carriage driving.
And Lucy's aim here is to be as smooth as possible. He's a big horse, a big moving horse, and her plan is to be very smooth, very slick. Well driven, Lucy.
Well, Lucy certainly intending to carry on with the family tradition, bought a pony for her children that had been driven. So we look forward to the next generation as well. But it's all about Lucy at the moment. Lucy McGill for Great Britain, trained by my co-commentator, James Rooney. And they are through the finishing flags for the final obstacle. So we're back out in the country once again.
We're in obstacle number 2 with Kurt Gosler.
Kurt Gosler for Austria.
And we can see again here a very, very quick horse, not huge in stature, but very quick. And I think he missed out the turn by the shouts of the backstepper, so it has to go and represent.
With Hannah Wessel in the groom's position.
And obstacle 6. That particular gate not in the water now, he needs to go back into the water.
Winding their way on the right rein around that particular part of the obstacle, now back into the water.
Then the 2 barrel type obstacles that have caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, but certainly no hesitation there for Happy Days Serious Air.
None whatsoever.
Seamless passage through the water in this long cantering stretch.
A very wet backstepper.
It's a big expanse of water, that, isn't it? And only a portion of it used for the eventing.
It's huge.
The carriage driving. Well, we saw another horse there, just losing its footing, but regaining it very quickly. How genuine, how wonderful our partners are, the horses. Pick up again after that slip, picking up after what could have been a possible loss of confidence.
Oh, definitely. And here we have into obstacle 7.
Well, and at 7 we're with Matteo Crimello and Cavaro. Voice commands ringing out once again, this time from Matteo to Cavaro.
Slight loss of direction there. He was keeping up a big canter and going wide, and has lost his way slightly. And you can see the horse's confidence a little bit shook.
Started driving when he was 18, Matteo Crimella. And the next finisher, it is the Italian combination.
Into the quite confusing so far, obstacle 4. This has been quite influential in some of the drivers. As we see here, the horse is not really taking the driver forward. doesn't appear to be enjoying today.
Yeah, and I presume here, as we would in any situation with a horse, providing we feel it is satisfactory to keep going, is just keep encouraging the horse forwards at a pace at which it is comfortable.
Well, yes, indeed. One of the possibilities here, because he's been slow in at least 2 obstacles we've seen, that the competitor coming behind him might actually catch up.
Yeah, you were talking earlier, as we'd see in eventing, they are set off at points or at times where we, in theory, would not have one horse catching the other up, but there are situations where that is not the case. And what would happen in that situation?
In an ideal world, this slow competitor would be stopped and the faster one let go past. And as in all of these obstacles, there is a time limit of 5 minutes in each obstacle. And if you go over that, you are eliminated and you may not continue. And we have Maureen Thibault-Macault in obstacle number 3.
This horse was very content with itself. I thought that yesterday during the cones.
Does like the water, doesn't he?
He does.
Yes, he's
Loving
keeping a nice.
Valentino, the horse, ranked number 30, coming into this with driver Maureen Thibault-Macault for Luxembourg. Luxembourg, with their team of 3 here today, over the over the 4 days of the Ciao4 Star at Pau.
Maureen will be pleased with that.
Well, you can hear the shouts of "Allez, allez" from Jonathan Mewis for his horse Happy de Cerisier.
He's definitely one of the quickest we've seen at obstacle 6. No problems at all around those cylinders. Very wet.
Yes, all those who have gone through that water quickly are certainly wet, having done so. Of those crowds continuing to build. Will we have record crowds here for the Sunday, as we did yesterday for the Saturday?
Into obstacle 4. And a good pace. Looking confident.
The big grey heavy, driven by Kurt Gosler for Austria. Used to be a groom for a team in Paiba. Now, with his own setup, started driving in 1990. Started off as a pleasure driver, our competitor from Austria, Kurt Gosler, before turning his attention seriously to competition.
But we can see the horse here, sometimes struggling for balance. Yeah, like there. But offering speed all the time. As one of the interesting things about the composition of the marathon today, the section A, which is about 6 kilometers timed, is mostly on roads. So, as in tarmac roads. So, most people wouldn't put any studs in for that reason. And you can see that sometimes the horses that are used to studs get a little insecure without studs and slip a little. Look, I know Lucy didn't put any studs in and she was absolutely fine.
Yeah, but it does, yeah, if it does have an adverse effect, not having those studs, it is a significant factor. And those roads are before the competition. It's before we get underway with these
yes,
obstacles.
It's timed a good trot pace. It's timed 22 minutes to 24 minutes. In between that,
Etienne Louise for Belgium, we just saw disappearing. Well, we're back with Jonathan Mewis for Belgium into the arena. Therefore, it means it is his final obstacle negotiation.
and the last Belgian team member is in the lead after 2 phases, dressage and cones.
Yep, that is Laura Filippo. 42.77 clean sheet in the cones yesterday.
Very smooth there. Into obstacle number 1.
Back out into the country once again, if you've just joined us for this CAIO 4-star HI single carriage driving competition. The finest drivers in the world are here with over 40 competitors as the pre-runner for the World Championships to be held here next year. But that having been said, we have of course had single carriage driving here for many years at the very top level of 4-star, of FEI 4-star competition. Didier Mathies now. Didier Mathies for France. Darker, ranked 42 after the first 2 phases.
He was very quick there. We'll look forward to seeing him through the rest of the obstacles. I think he'll be very quick.
We were saying yesterday that the French really do like, it is in their part of them to want to go quickly, isn't it, cross country in the marathon?
Oh yes, it is. And we see that in eventing as well, don't we?
Very much so. Very much so. Annette Jonsson and Brendo now for Sweden. First time we've seen this. Carriage and right driver and horse.
It's a big lip up out of that water. And yet another horse losing confidence in towards the huge crowd that are here already. And he's got another one of those to negotiate.
Etienne Luez. With the groom jumping up the back of that carriage, moving it round so that it can get past the final element in the water at obstacle number 6.
He's actually going a little bit quicker than he did in the last obstacle. He likes the water then.
Obviously a favourite of Chianti della Valle. Back into the arena. The sun beaming down on this famous Po arena. And a competitor at speed. And it is France, as we talked about speed in the French. Sébastien Murier and Chatandu Shenzed flying through this obstacle and maybe flying a little bit too much. Well, we're going to see, I wonder if we're going to see a rein back there.
No, it wasn't possible to rein back. You can see the back of the carriage is fishtailing.
Yeah.
There is lots of technology on the carriage to help keep it a turntable brake, to keep it straight, to keep it level. But he was putting so much power in there.
Back out into the country to obstacle number 2. Didier Mathies and Darker for France.
See how quick and nimble the horse is. Keeps up the pace, and then the driver just says this way, and the horse is gone.
Sébastien Mourier for France has completed his marathon. France marathon for the moment.
Tight and smooth.
Very smooth through this part of fence number 2, obstacle number 2.
And he'll be thinking, go as fast as possible, but he doesn't want to exhaust his horse.
And it just shows here that this trot is really covering the ground.
Like we said in the cones yesterday, the trot can be as fast as a gallop. And for Luxembourg, Maureen Thibault-McCall, obstacle 5, up and down the hill. He's keeping up a nice, quite a demure pace.
Demure, but steady, rhythmical.
Can you come a little bit closer? No? So, oh, is it, just wait a minute, is it possible?
Maureen will be pleased with that.
So 10 seconds, is it good? Yeah.
Well, we're back
sorry.
now with Kurt Gosler and Heavy.
Okay, so good morning, Lucy. How did you feel? Was this marathon difficult today?
Tightened up, it's much tighter than it walked. So yeah, much more difficult than we see back in the UK.
Okay, thank you. Alors un marathon, oui, assez difficile pour Lucie, beaucoup plus étroit que ce dont ils ont l'habitude au Royaume-Uni. Voilà.
We could see there, just finishing obstacle 6, that the backstepper was leaning down, getting very wet, but she's looking at the instructions that she's got written on the back of the carriage. See her timing.
Yeah, interesting that those instructions are written there on the back. I suppose it's a little bit like rally driving, those instructions for the co-driver. Etienne Luez and Chiante de la Vallée are ranked 43 coming into this final marathon through the first element of the final obstacle.
And because this horse hasn't enjoyed every obstacle, he'll be hoping to get nice and wide and smooth and build the horse's confidence up for next time.
Yes, it's all about the what's coming ahead, isn't it? Preparation for what's coming ahead with the horse.
It is indeed.
Either during the same competition, the same training session, or looking ahead to the next session or competition. Etienne Luez and Chiante de la Vallée, they complete their 7 obstacles of the marathon for the 4-star single carriage driving. Back through the water once again, this time for Didier Mathis and Darker.
Obstacle number 3. Jumped in and therefore missed his turn.
A very extravagant jump in, looked fantastic, but unfortunately not fantastic for our driver, Didier Mathis, having missed that element of fence number 3.
Yes, this horse with lots of energy, offering lots. But jumping in gave the driver no chance at all to steer.
And enthusiastically into the water once again, meeting the rising ground as they come out from that obstacle.
And
so we're seeing shots of our next competitor through one of our obstacles in the country.
Maureen
Now back with the
Thibault-McCall
water.
in obstacle 6, the second of those cylinders, nice and accurately, and pick up a good canter.
Super canter through that water.
In obstacle 1, aiming to go as fast as possible.
And certainly that aim of going as quickly as possible, continuing through fence number 1 for Ben Simonsen and Rag Yogo, the part of the Finnish team. Tavliki Järvinen, Lina Kalathi and Ben Simonsen himself, part of that Finnish team. 3 teams, 3 members of the teams, as there will be for the World Championships next year.
The horse wearing really expressive earmuffs.
Yeah, you can see those white earmuffs to the fore with those ears pricked. All our horses this morning on this marathon with their ears pricked, looking so interested in what's going on, eager to please. And the blinkers, we associate blinkers with carriage driving horses, James. And here in the sport of carriage driving, obviously it has the same effect. They have the same effect.
They do. Most of the horses you see driving will be wearing blinkers. Very occasionally, very, very occasionally, one gets a horse or a pony that doesn't wear blinkers.
And Ed Jonsson and Brendo now ranked 27th in this obstacle 5, whereas James was saying earlier, in theory, And almost in practice, you don't need to use the mounds at all. And we saw Lucy McGill, the British competitor, using the mound very little. It is your choice of the passage you actually take as you wind your way in and out of the various elements of the obstacle itself.
And Austria into obstacle 7, very quick, as he has been in the previous two water fences, obstacles. Going the long way around. We can see the carriage slightly fishtailing.
The groom once again weaving from left to right, now sitting on the side of the carriage to get the balance just right as they turn sharp right-handed round element A.
Well, indeed, the last thing I want is the carriage to get unbalanced or turn over, which does happen, unfortunately, occasionally.
Yeah, magnificent shots here of the 7 obstacles on this marathon course for the 4-star. Carriage driving at Les 5 Étoiles de Pau. All the technique unfolding in front of us, all the action, all the excitement.
Obstacle 3 once more, the first of the two waters. Oh, it's Magali Ayo.
Magali Ayo for France and Atomo. 68.9, first two phase combined score, A and C.
And is that her husband on the back step? Looks like him. And he's one of the premier French four-in-hand drivers, Benjamin Ayo. That looked very smooth indeed.
Well, seamlessly from the speed down to the walk, in ready for that next phase of tracks before the next obstacle phase.
Obstacle number 2. Very quick in the turns, Ben Simonson for Finland. Again, another one of the younger drivers, showing how quick they can be.
And the ground seems to be extremely good. I mean, the eventers were saying yesterday afternoon just how good it was.
This morning, the earlier competitors would have had some overnight dew to contend with. Now, I imagine that the sun has dried that off and the footing is just perfect.
And the bit of rain that we had, well, plenty of rain that we had earlier on in the week, that transition from early autumn to the progression through autumn means that it has just made a wonderful footing after the sun has just dried off that little bit of dew.
Oh, absolutely. The footing is actually perfect. How quick is this competitor? So fast, I haven't been able to see a number.
Very quick indeed.
Yeah, number 33.
The horse giving everything through here. 33, this is Jessica Watcher for Germany.
That was very quick. Again, another one of our younger drivers.
Yeah, we were talking about the younger drivers yesterday. Hugely impressive. So good to see in the world of carriage driving the younger drivers coming through. Many of them introduced by family and other connections, but not always the case. But so good to see that they are in the world of carriage driving and not necessarily continuing with eventing or dressage. Now at fence number 6.
We have Annette Jonsson. Being a little bit cautious there for Sweden. And now she knows she's got these 2 cylinders to contend with and the scary public. That was very good. The horse is still full of running.
Yeah, not
very smooth indeed.
This horse not concerned about the scary competitors. My apologies, the scary spectators. We're delighted to see such a wonderful crowd here. They will be enjoying an absolute treat. And you're getting everyone viewing, getting all the action, and the action all the more exciting actually out there on course. Well, we now go to Maureen Thibault-Macault and Valentino once again, ranked number 30, coming into this final phase. This wonderfully rhythmic trot, easy trot that Valentino had. Saw it yesterday with the cones, seeing it here again now in the final fence, the final obstacle of the marathon.
Maureen in part of the Luxembourg team, and they are currently in 4th place. They'll be hoping to climb up the leaderboard.
Yep, Franz Schultz, Marie Schultz, and Maureen herself, Maureen Thibault-McCourt, part of this Luxembourg team. 4th overnight after the first 2 phases.
That was very smooth. Not the quickest, but very smooth. And it's a very fast entry into number 6.
Ben Simonsen and Regiogo for Finland. Back through the water.
That's number 3. I got that one wrong.
So easily done. In between the 2 canard ducks from yesterday's 5-star event in cross country, with the green spruce as the body of the ducks.
Slight orienteering problem there. He missed his turn, so he had to come do it again. So that will be costly for him.
Well, staying with Ben Simonsen as he moves away from the water. Well, now at a different obstacle.
We have Didier Mattis for France at obstacle 6. This time I'm right. And he'll drop down into the water and go around those 2 cylinders, which have caused quite a bit of problems during the morning. No such problems for Didier.
Yeah, those problems caused as the horses are driven directly towards a wall in front of them, a physical wall and also the wall of spectators, but no problem whatsoever for Darker.
That was very smooth indeed. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, a very relaxed horse, Darker. Going well. Boding very well for the final obstacle here in the arena.
The backstepper just checking her instructions, seeing they're on time and going in the right way.
Yes, so important to arrive at the next phase, at the next part of the phase, absolutely on time.
Obstacle 7 once again.
Anna Johnson and Brendo for Sweden. Very fluent change from the trot to the canter.
The big, powerful horse, isn't he?
Magnificent.
Really able to come around the corner and keep the pressure on.
Fluctuating between the trot and the canter. So, our next competitor to finish. The 3 phases of the 4-star, the dressage, the cones, and now the marathon. Jessica Watcher and Al Lind in picture. The next at the water, fence number 3, obstacle number 3.
She was very quick. We saw her through obstacle 1, one of the fastest so far.
Is it worth me swapping Finn over and putting him up here?
Don't think he's looking at the huge crowd here and backing off a little. But hopefully that will do her some good before she comes back into obstacle number 6, where things are a little tighter and a little closer to the public.
Keep your chats going and let me know what you want.
Jessica and Groom with plenty of vocal encouragement through the water, and particularly as they exited, encouraging the horse along. Well, we swiftly move to the next piece of action, the next obstacle being negotiated quickly and very efficiently by the horse Hollywood with Louis-Marie Malherbe for Belgium in the driving seat. Gives that upright post a bit of a knock, but doesn't stop them cantering well away from that obstacle.
No, but it did dislodge a ball, so he will get 2 penalties added to his score.
Ben Simerson and Ragiogo. Finnish pair back in our sight once again, this time at fence number 4.
Yet again, we see someone who's geared down a little in order to negotiate, because this is quite a confusing obstacle, because everything looks the same for the horse and the driver. The real test of memory and turning and power.
And I presume, as with eventing or with cross-country and with show jumping and with a dressage test as well, it's practice, isn't it, that helps make this fall into place, even though they are all different, the different courses, but at the same time a huge challenge.
Bonjour Sébastien, bon alors parlez-nous un petit peu de votre épreuve, comment ça s'est passé pour vous?
Eh bien, je suis assez content dans l'ensemble. Après, j'ai quelques erreurs. Bon, j'ai un jeune cheval qui a que 3 participations en international, donc forcément ça crée un petit peu. Après, je suis plus déçu parce que je fais une très très grosse faute sur le dernier obstacle. Le cheval, je pense qu'on roulait de mieux en mieux, il commence à avancer et on a une incompréhension à la porte D, quoi. C'est un peu gênant, quoi. Mais bon, après voilà, le marathon est assez rapide, je pense. Je sais pas dans les premiers, mais je pense qu'on voit le sol qui glisse quand même relativement à certaines zones, beaucoup, quoi. Et il faut gérer la prudence. C'est tout un compromis entre la vitesse et la prudence, quoi.
D'accord, merci beaucoup.
Well, we just saw Magali Hello for France at obstacle number 5 with husband Benjamin Ayot as her groom on the back. We're now back with live pictures in the arena, and it is Didier Mathis and Darkes for France. Huge enthusiasm for the home competitors, and quite rightly so. We saw that with Magali Ayot out on country, in the country, and Didier Mathis now for France, completing at fence number 7, obstacle number 7. So completing the 3 phases of the 4-star courage driving. Well, very quickly through the water, James, for Louis-Marie Malherbe and Hollywood.
And lots of vocal encouragement. And we can see that the driver and the back stepper have got back protectors on. Unlike eventing, where you have a whole body protector, carriage driving stipulates a back protector, but most people wear a body protector, but this suffices.
Interesting difference. All under the guidance of the FEI, all under the control of the FEI, the equestrian sports. 4-star, the top level of single carriage driving, 5-star, the top level of eventing, and we will see the show jumping, the final phase of the 5-star eventing this afternoon here in the main arena. And we turn our attention once again to the French team of Magali Helou and Otomo the horse, and her husband Benjamin Ayot, the top world-class 4-in-hand driver, you were saying, James?
Oh yes, definitely. Benjamin is one of the top 4-in-hand drivers in the world, and we look forward to him competing in the indoor circuit in the World Cup.
Yes, all the excitement and the sheer speed in those World Cup arenas, indoor arenas through the winter of the 4-horse teams.
Magali is one of the quickest through here we've seen. It's absolutely marvellous.
Superb.
And obstacle 1, a slight disagreement in direction.
Back on track again now for Benoit Vernet and Venus Dubois-Ronde. 74.74 their combined score from phases A and C, the first 2 phases in this 3-phase single-hand or single horse carriage driving.
This horse is very quick. You can see he puts his hind legs right under him and really pushes off. So he loses no time at all. Sometimes he doesn't listen to a driver and has his own opinion on direction.
Obviously had that there.
That's an interesting one. It looks like he's forgotten to do a gate. And whether or not he'd left through the out gates, that'd be one for the judges. He went that far and turned back. Yeah, very interesting.
Went back, completed that particular obstacle. Well, just an opportunity to give you the top three coming into this final phase after the dressage and the cone section yesterday. For Belgium, Laura Philippot leads the way with a bit of a cushion on a point score of 42.77. Fabrice Martin on 48.06. In third place, Rudolf Pesman for the Netherlands on 49.14. Fifth is Annika Geiger for Germany on 50.20. And then in fifth place on a score of 51.23, also for Germany, Marie Tischer. Those are the top five who come into this final phase, and we await Laura Philippot, our leader overnight, to come forwards.
The Finnish driver
towards
taking it slowly, approaching the water. I think this horse really likes the water.
Ben Simerson, Ragiogo. Spectators there getting all the action with their cameras on their phones.
It's fantastic crowd already here.
Building all the time. This is what we saw yesterday. The crowd enjoyed so much the cones phase here in the main arena yesterday morning. Packed grandstands and crowds around the perimeters of the arena. And those crowds now building out on the marathon course for the driving.
Another horse is not quite sure about the wall and the public, but well recovered. Like eventing, occasionally you get the odd horse that is not terribly keen on getting his feet wet.
Yes, and that's certainly a case here for Venus du Boiron, driven by Bueno Vernay. Into the water, but with a little hesitation, as James was saying to start with. Combined first two-phase score of 74.74. Weaving their way around element C here of fence number 3, obstacle number 3 at the water.
We can see with the huge atmosphere here, this horse is distracted and not quite sure. But he'll hopefully gain confidence from that, because he'll definitely need it in obstacle number 6, where things are a lot tighter.
Yeah, and we talked about this four-star competition here for the single carriage driving being a world-class competition in its own right, but it is certainly a forerunner, isn't it, for the World Championships here next year, and many of these horses will be getting themselves acclimatized to the crowds that they can expect at the World Championships.
Oh, very definitely. It's only a few places in the world can you get an atmosphere like we have here at Pau.
And we are very lucky to be witnessing that, and to be witnessing this action as we see Jessica Watcher for Germany and Alind.
Yeah, this horse is so strong and powerful, and turning, sometimes losing his footing.
Jessica Watcher with her 2 grooms over the 4 days of competition. Annette Kreis and Martin Rost. Started driving when she was 12 years old. Her mentor is the international 4-in-hand driver, Jörg von Stein. Just saw a shot there of that big expanse of water, only part of it used for the carriage driving and eventing marathon and cross-country sections. It is beautiful out there in the park at the Domaine de Serres, and beyond is the first-class, world-class racehorse training centre, both flat and steeplechasing, over which the eventing five-star competitors made their way yesterday afternoon, as always is the tradition here at Po. Well, Marcelo Torresilas and Argentino through that. Good passage through there, James.
That was very smooth. Obstacle 2, that was a masterclass from our Spanish competitor.
Jessica, watch her again.
She's having some slight steering issues, but keeping up the speed.
And keeping up the vocal encouragement, instructions from both Jessica and the groom.
She's got those
Martin
two difficult
Koska.
boxes. Yeah, looking at the crowd again. The last cylinder on the left. That was better. But I think the horse is enjoying the water.
Yeah, the mare, Aline, certainly enjoying that.
Obstacle 1, it's our new starter. Looks like for Finland.
Next competitor for Finland. And we believe this is, it is Lina Kalalathi and Udim at fence number 1, obstacle number 1, as we know them in carriage driving.
If my memory serves correctly, she was one of the few clear rounds in the cones yesterday. Very smooth here so far. And a good turn of acceleration out of the obstacle.
She was indeed clear yesterday. Yeah, one of those few clear in terms of the cones. Nothing to add for time in the cone section.
My goodness, that was swift into the water.
And a wonderful
Almost
turn around the tree.
on the very edge of balance there, turning around. Spain.
Sparkling through the water for Marcelo Torresilas and Argentino.
He wants a very good result from this marathon to bring him up the rankings.
Presently at 40 with 82.72 from those first two phases, A and C. Well, certainly going well through fence number 3 at the water.
This is definitely one of the quickest we've seen through here. Watch the lipper out of the water.
Scintillating through the water goes Marcelo for Spain.
And the last obstacle here in the arena.
This is competitor 17, Ben Simerson, for Finland with Ragiogo. Losing a little bit of momentum there between B and D. The elements with the B and D letters on top. Picking up that rhythm again.
The Finnish team currently in 8th place, so a little bit to do to climb up the rankings.
8th of the 10. France in the lead overnight after the second cone phase, with Germany in second, Netherlands in third.
And in the quite tight obstacle 2, I think we have another Finnish person.
We do. It is Lina Kalalathi and Udim, we saw just a little earlier.
This horse is very nimble. He's very quick to turn, loses no power at all. Doesn't always listen though. And sadly she's had a ball down, so that's a 2 to add on the way out. We've seen that quite consistently this morning, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Yeah, but they are there to be negotiated. Those balls on top of some of those obstacles are there to add further challenge, to give the potential of further penalties. But those balls are only, as we were saying earlier, on certain of the obstacles.
Yeah, that's correct. Not all of them have dislodgeable elements, as they are called. For instance, we've just seen someone in obstacle 1. There are 3 dislodgeable elements there.
Yeah, and you can see those dislodgeable elements quite clearly on the top of the designated obstacles. Andrea Dorbretsberger and Incicatio for Germany.
Here we're watching an obstacle 6
For
Louis-Marie Malherbe.
Hollywood the horse.
A good gallop through the water to this difficult cylinder. This is one of the best we've seen, almost as good as Magali Ayer. Be very pleased with that.
A Belgium team moving away out of the water. Well, now this is the obstacle where the option is to negotiate it by using the mounds or not using the mounds, depending on the passage in and out of the different elements of the challenge, of the obstacle.
And we can see here the horse is actually not that comfortable doing it and going forward to a walk and losing balance on the way down. Then the advice would be, don't go up there. Losing valuable time here. The horse is not quite sure.
Yes, you do have the option. What is best for your horse?
And like ridden cross country, you can change your mind. If you've walked all the options, if necessary, you can change your mind.
Juana Vernet and Venus du Boiron for France. You could just see some of the stables in the background there from this amazing training facility, racehorse training facility here at Pau, just a couple of miles from the racecourse itself.
Ben Simonson approaching the last obstacle, number 7 in this marvellous arena.
Yeah, the distinctive stripes of both driver and groom in their marathon team colours, Ben Simonson and Ragiogo.
Pretty smooth so far. Put a little bit more speed on. The horse is overbending a lot, not quite going exactly where he wants him to go, so it's taking a little longer to do a turn.
Applause from the crowd as Ben Simonson for Finland negotiates the final obstacle and completes the 3 phases of the marathon. Well, we're back out in the country again, back out at the water.
Another Finnish driver.
And that was a good correction there. Managed to get the left-handed turn back in.
Lina Kalahati getting lots of vocal encouragement.
Lina Kalahati for Finland with Udim speeding out of the water. The distinctive blue and white tail guard on the horse for Finland, the colours of Finland. Well, now further out into the country once again. It is Andrea Dobersberger once again with Incicatio. In fact, at fence number 2. 45, their ranking coming into this final phase. And it is possible, as we said earlier, to actually get eliminated in the cones because it is treated very much as part of the three phases, but it also is a competition within itself where prizes are awarded for the cone phase itself. It is possible to be eliminated and still come forward to this marathon.
Yes, it is indeed. And here we see yet another person falling foul to that, that post on the left-hand side, leaving obstacle 2.
Yeah, been a feature of that during the morning, hasn't it, James?
One of those balance and steering questions.
There's always, on any course, whatever it is, in any discipline, equine sport discipline, there are always certain fences or obstacles or challenges that feature heavily, don't they, throughout the course of the competition.
Indeed.
Benoit Vernet and Vuno de Boironde we see again, another of the home crowd's favourite competitors. And we see the groom actually stepping off there before stepping back onto the plate to jump and help the carriage around.
If the groom steps up 1 foot on the ground, it will incur no penalty. Both feet on the ground, it incurs 5 penalties in an obstacle. A little bit cautious around that first post. Again, the horse can't really see where to go. It's amazing how influential these have been, isn't it? Like coming out of obstacle number 2.
Yeah, very influential. But this is the highest level of single carriage driving. At the 4-star level, world-class drivers, the very best in the world, are here with their very best horses.
And the technical questions are the very highest caliber.
The technical questions are being asked appropriately.
The horse looks really impressive at obstacle 5. Loads of power. And galloping up onto the hill and down again, keeping balance.
This would seem to me, James, how to ride this if you're going up and down those mounds,
yes,
or how to drive this.
Keeping the power the whole time.
Yeah.
So actually being really quick. Except he missed that. The horse took over and went out to the left instead of the right. Add a little bit of, or take some time away from him.
You just see the power of horses in general, don't you, when you watch this carriage driving, whether it's single, 4 or double or double harness driving. And of course, horses traditionally have been in harness, haven't they, for centuries. But you really see the power that they're capable of.
Oh, absolutely, for centuries. And there's an acceleration out of obstacle 1.
And it is acceleration for Marcy Quist for the United States of America, the sole competitor for America with Holstead by Legacy. Ranked 21, good ranking coming into this final phase. 2-phase combined score of 67.63.
Yeah, Marcy drives a Hackney mare.
Seeing pictures there of one of the wide cross-country fences on Pierre Michelet's 5-star cross-country track that was negotiated yesterday afternoon. Show jumping this afternoon, the final phase for the 5-star show jumping for the 5-star eventing here at Les 5 Étoiles de Pau. Once again, a great shot of the Pyrenees in the background there with the smattering of snow on the top.
A shot of obstacle 4 here, waiting for a customer to come in. Very quickly through one of the waters. This one is really impressive.
Round that element of fence 6 they go, losing no momentum, rhythm or power. Now to the left for Marcela Torresilas and Argentina for Spain. Delighting us in every way.
That was really quick. As the day carries on, and we go up the rankings, we'll be expecting quicker and quicker.
Now back to the arena and to fence number 7, obstacle number 7. That dislodgeable element there we see Art B. Benoit Vernet and Veneux Dubois-Rand.
We saw him getting a little bit stuck in the water obstacle 6, where he seems to have got his confidence back up again.
Started driving at the age of 10. Was pushed to start competing by his parents, he says, but obviously thoroughly enjoyed it. He was champion of France in 2001 with the single horse a few years ago. He's kept it up, and that encouragement from his parents obviously paying off richly.
And obstacle number 5, and we have for Finland again. She's having a good round so far.
For Finland, this is Lina Kalalathi. Here she is with Udim. Good round. Consistent at the various obstacles.
The horse has plenty of power and energy left to run up and down this hill. He enjoys his work. It's amazing how horses really enjoy a challenge like this.
Yeah, the horses wouldn't do it if they didn't want to. They are enjoying every inch of this. Maybe need a little bit of encouragement and confidence giving from the driver and the groom. But this is what our equine friends do so magnificently for us, but enjoy it with us. They enjoy every step of the way with us.
Oh, absolutely. As you say, they wouldn't do it unless they loved it. That was Annika Geiger very swiftly through obstacle number 1. So we're just about the halfway phase of this CAI 4-star in Po.
Annika Geiger for Germany, moving away from that obstacle in readiness to start the tracks. The track phase in between every single obstacle.
One of Pierre Michelet's superb fences being put to a different use today.
Yeah, and that looks as though it was at fence 28, the entry to the final water phase, or the final water elements yesterday afternoon.
Which
Big
proved
log.
to be very influential, didn't it?
It did. Well, yes, he did. Particularly the second element at B, the brush, bull-nosed, skinny in the water itself.
And here we have Lina for Finland into obstacle number 6.
Lina Kalalathi. The spectators straining to get the best possible view.
The 5 judges for this class, this FEI class, are spread around across the marathon, keeping an eye on proceedings, making sure that everything runs smoothly.
Yes, those 5 judges for Germany, Rainer Vandenbach for Germany, France, Anne-Marie Turbay, for Denmark, Pierre Scar, for France, Michael Delinière, and for Spain, Miguel Gutierrez.
And I can see that Pierre Scar has been given the job of supervising obstacle 6 and possibly obstacle 3, the 2 waters.
Well, the horse just having a look down at the water, those blinkers on, literally putting its head down there, having a little look.
Yeah, Marcy allowing her to have a look and get confident and then move on. This is Marcy Christ for the USA.
Once again, the horse just nodding its head down, being allowed to, finding its way.
Oh dear. Needs to pick a trot up again. Oh, well done.
Marty Quist with Holstead by Legacy.
So we've seen this before. Yet another horse influenced by the huge occasion. So much to see, so much to hear.
Yeah, and whether it's turning left or right at that particular point, so much to see, and particularly that wall in front of them.
And quickly in obstacle 7. Very fast indeed.
Marcelo Tordesillas and Argentino.
Well, throughout the day, we've seen the Spaniards all going quickly.
Yeah, looking for the lift up the board. 40th coming into this third phase for Marcelo and Argentino.
That's a good finish.
Back out into the country once again.
Into the first obstacle. Oh, that was a quick turn.
Great rhythm, great counter rhythm for Frodo and Marie Schiltz for Luxembourg.
Marie Schiltz, if memory serves me, had a very good cones round yesterday, an extremely quick turn from 14 to 15. Another one of our younger drivers. She'll be happy with her first obstacle. And now on her way to obstacle number 2, she's putting her thoughts together, how she wants to approach it and what speed.
Well, now pictures of the water. Back with the water, our next competitor at the water. Just picking up that canter gate seamlessly, just showing the power and the balance to be able to pick up that canter gate from the trot in the water itself from Insicato, with Andrea Dorbetsberger driving.
And this is obstacle 6, so she negotiated 5 before that. And we can see this horse has lots of energy still left to go. Change of plan. Again, you can see this horse doing very, very good flying changes, keeping up the balance, keeping the power. We'll see how these 2 cylinders go that have caused so much. Yes, again, the horse backed off the crowd a little bit, but not too badly.
Yeah, Andrea, who's been an active competition driver since 1997, first with the Cold Bloods and then since 2002 with the Warm Bloods and the Lipizzaner horses, and this very much a Lipizzaner type. Insicato.
I think she'd be very pleased with that.
Great passage through the water for the Austrian team of Andrea Dorbensberger, Insicato.
And Annika Geiger came really quickly into obstacle 3, but then had a slight turning problem. Has recovered now and got speed back up again.
Annika, the daughter of the German national trainer Karl-Heinz Geiger. Another to be involved since her childhood in the sport of driving. German youth champion 2011, 12, 13 and 16. 5th place in the German Championship Seniors 3 years ago. Well, now we switch back to the arena.
And Finland once again.
It is indeed Finland. It is Udim pulling the carriage. The chestnut with Lina Kalalathi in the driving seat.
This is very smooth and fluent, losing no time in any turn so far. Some of these turns are quite tight. Doing a very good job.
An impressive fence 7, obstacle 7, and a wave to the crowd from the groom. as another of our four-star competitors in the single carriage driving competition complete the marathon and therefore the three phases, the dressage, the cones and the marathon of this competition, this world-class competition. Back now at fence 2 out in the Domaine de Serre.
This will be very interesting. This is Marie Schiltz again, who has shown how quickly her horse will turn for her. One of our younger drivers. And that big trot and how quickly she turns, losing no time at all. And as we've seen on the exit of obstacle 2, is not to fall left and knock a ball down. Ah, she missed a turn. That will be costly. Ball intact.
All intact. As Maria Schiltz with her two grooms over the 4 days, Sonny Schiltz and Tobias Eifhaus make their way. It is Tobias on the back today.
And another Spanish starter in obstacle 1. Have a horse having a look around, just getting used to the ambience of everything.
So for Spain, this is Ana Munoz Fernandez with Sunny Boy W. Spain with the team of 3 here, lying in 9th place, 9th of the 10th team, 10 teams coming into this final phase. Manuel Uber Ruiz on the back.
Good gallop out of obstacle 1. Using his footing a little bit there. Be interesting to watch through obstacle 4, see how he copes with those technical questions.
Back into the arena, Andrea Dobretsberger and Incitato for Austria.
Powerful horse. See where her hands are very far apart to be able to steer as quickly and efficiently as possible. And how obedient the horse is, changing from one side to another very quickly, going from left to right and then right to left.
Yeah, doing very well for a big horse around these obstacles of fence number 7, and through the finish they go. And a great shot of them seamlessly making their way out of the arena. So we're back to the mounds of fence number 5, and we're with the sole representation from the United States of America once again, Marcy Quist and Holstead by Legacy.
Yes, again we see the slightly smaller statured horses struggling a little to go each time up and down this hill. So valuable seconds ticking away. They're looking to be enjoying themselves immensely. There, she made a decision not to go over the mound. Went, yeah, very sensible. Well done.
Obviously really thought about that and paid dividends handsomely for the carriage from the United States of America. Back now to a different obstacle.
I think this is Maria. Oh, it's Anna
It is Annika Geiger with Annabelle 121 for Germany. Ranked number 4, so we're forwards now with one of the very highest placing teams after the first 2 phases. 50.2 is the penalty, giving them a ranking of 4 coming into this final phase for Annika Geiger. Little slight problem just a few seconds ago, James.
Yeah, the horse was having a little debate about which way to go.
Yes, saying, are you really sure you want me to go this way?
Indeed. Well recovered.
Very well recovered.
And very smooth.
Yes, as in all disciplines, as in all equestrian sport, it's about, if there is a little blip, picking up that rhythm once again. And rhythm, the basis to everything that we do.
Well, indeed, and putting anything untoward behind us and concentrating on the next thing to
And I think when we look at equestrian sport and we look at it compared to any other sport, that's what we're doing so well now in equestrianism, isn't it? At the highest levels particularly. It's the psychology, it's being able to put those problems behind us, move on.
Oh, most definitely. It's very important. We see Marcy Quist here into obstacle number 6, and the mare just a little bit cautious about the water, isn't she? Like she was in obstacle 3. So she may find the 2 cylinders in the water a little more difficult to negotiate.
Yeah, what a genuine little horse this looks. Just a bit steady, as you were saying. And will we see those problems here? But no, a little more fluent into the water this time, but still very steady. Just having a look, the horse. Holstead by Legacy. Yeah, definitely here.
I think the horse geared back to give itself time to see where to go.
Yeah, thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking.
And another one, the big atmosphere is a lot for the horse to take in.
Yeah, Holstead by Legacy almost saying to Marcy, I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
I know.
Big cheers from the huge crowd here at Po.
Yeah, really appreciating what they've seen. And no lack of American support here. North America.
It's interesting, a backstepper who doesn't want to get wet. Standing right up on the sides of the carriage.
I'm sure he'd argue that he was doing it for technical reasons.
No,
Whoa,
he's
up
up again.
He's up again.
He really doesn't want to get wet, does he?
This is Ana Muroz Fernandez and Sunny Boy for Spain.
He's keeping very good balance up there.
Well, it is Manuel Ubido Ruiz on the back there. Amazing balance. Almost like a jockey. Back through the water, having a little look. Sunny Boy W.
No, he's got wet now. He forgot. He forgot to jump up. That was very fluent and smooth. This looks quick.
No loss of rhythm or forward momentum here.
Oh, this is Germany, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Annika Geiger and Annabelle 121. That ranking of 4, one of the top placings coming here into this final phase at fence number 5. That rhythm being maintained, the forward momentum being maintained. And ears pricked.
If we look at her reins, she's got loops in the reins, so that the reins won't slip any further through her hands. Don't always see that. Four-in-hand drivers do, but not always with singles. Very interesting.
Very. We could see that. You can see that as the driver moves away. Those loops on the end of those reins. Back into the arena once again.
A driver with no loops.
No loops, but going very well.
Very quick indeed.
Great canter rhythm through here. Superb.
It's one of the smaller statured horses, so they can turn very quickly. We're not sure who it is because we can't see the number.
Ale is ringing out though, encouraging the horse forwards here at this final obstacle. It was certainly a very smooth, fluent and clean passage through that final obstacle at 7.
And obstacle 3, looking quick.
Now this is quick through here. Not just quick, but certainly smooth and fluent for Stefan Ulrich and Pamino Yu for Switzerland. Ranked number 11, 59.82 for those first 2 phases coming into this marathon. Powering through the water and up the gradient as they exit the water itself.
Be very pleased with that. Germany again, obstacle 6, about to go back down into the water around the two tricky parts of this obstacle. Putting the horse into the crowd.
Yeah, we're with Annabelle 121, the horse pulling the carriage, with Annika Geiger in the driving seat.
Second one was better, more fluent. I think she'd be pleased with that.
Not a lot wrong with that. Slow-mo pictures. Well, our broadcasting team have been bringing those magnificent shots over the course of the last 4 days. Marcy Quist and Halstead by Legacy now for the United States of America, continuing that steady rhythm, but they maintain a rhythm, don't they?
Very good at maintaining a rhythm. But a big trot, she can keep it going and organize the turns and keep up a really good fluent pace. And she'll be very pleased. She's on the last turn. Here she goes. Now she's finished. Well done, Mercy.
So the driver who started driving in a competitive nature in 2009 after eventing is now complete, and the marathon is behind her. Fence number 2.
This is really quick. Yes, Jean-Michel Olive. He's one of the fastest marathon drivers in the world.
Certainly showing that through there. Big horse as well to negotiate that obstacle in that manner.
Oh, absolutely, and he's part of the French team that are currently in the lead.
Certainly are. 101.14 points with that first place ranking from the first 2 phases coming into the marathon. 101.14. Germany just behind, marginally behind on 101.43. Then in third place, the Netherlands on 104.70.
And one of their team members just exiting obstacle 1, looking very quick indeed. Joep Gommers. We're looking forward to some very exciting sport for the rest of this class. There she looks happy, the lady with the loops.
Well, a very elegant sight of the horse there, floating through the water.
Marie Schultz.
Well, now we're with Marie Schultz and Frodo for Luxembourg at obstacle number 6.
You can see the horse saying, which way, which way, which way? And she's left, and it goes left really swiftly.
And it really is impressive how at the last mini-second, 10th of a second, they go to the left or the right.
For certain, occasionally they don't, and then things go directionally wrong.
Well, no problems there at that turn in terms of any lack of rhythm or hesitation.
They've had a little look.
Oh, they have now.
Yes, another little look. That's very awfully scary. And, oh, well done, Marie. She'll be pleased with that. Obstacle 4.
Obstacle 4
it is. The tricky one.
And we see the yellow markings on the carriage once again, this time for Stefan Ulrich, driving Pamino U, ranked number 11, first 2 phase, combined score 59.82.
And he's keeping up a good balance, good speed. And here we have Stefan Ulrich in obstacle 3. This is really quick. Look at that.
In fact, we've moved now to Jean-Michel Olive and Sinamari.
Indeed we have. That's why it's really quick.
That's why it's quick. We talked about the French loving their quick motion across country. That's certainly the case with Jean-Michel Olive. Cheers from the crowd. Huge encouragement from Jean-Michel Olive and his groom as Sinamari powers through the water.
Jean-Michel pushes right to the very edge. As we were saying earlier, the French love speed.
Annika Geiger now, and Annabelle 121. Combination that we've seen at a number of these obstacles continue to weave their way. Great last minute turn to the left from Annabelle 121, just in front of that element at obstacle number 7.
And she's had a very good, quick marathon so far. This is very smooth. She'll be pleased with it. And out the gate, and she's finished.
Forwards to canter, through the finishing post they go. The timing equipment you can see there denotes the end of phase 7 and the end of the marathon and the end of the 3 phases for this competitor.
Obstacle 1. This looks really quick. Is this a French competitor?
Competitor number looks like 20. It is 23. Competitor number 23. This is Martin Fabrice for France.
And there's the French trainer, Felix Brasseur, cycling alongside, giving advice. That's one of the things in carriage driving. One is allowed to speak to competitors on their way around, and it is not outside assistance.
And can they speak to the competitors at any point? Can you speak, for example, to the British competitor at any point?
Yes, one can.
Back with Stefan Ulrich and Pamina Yu.
What isn't allowed is direct physical assistance. Another quick one through into obstacle number 3.
Great shots of the water once again.
Oh, got the steering wrong there, and that tree's there, very unforgiving. He managed to recover very well. This horse is a huge mover.
This is Bandit Joep Gommers for the Netherlands. Ranked number 8 coming into this final phase. Started in 1996, again as a pleasure driver with a pair of Frisian horses, and now competes actively and has done since 2007, multiple times national champion with the pairs.
Right, what happened there? The horse is very reactive, very quick. We've got the Spanish girl with the back stepper in the air.
Deciding once again to stay dry.
And she's just finished there. A nice elegant trot out of obstacle number 6.
A fine picture on this beautifully sunny morning as the temperatures rise once again here, both in terms of the sun and the excitement at Les 5 Étoiles de Pau 2019, where we have all the excitement and the uniqueness of the 4-star single carriage driving wrangling alongside the world's very best in the 5-star eventing. Marie Schiltz is in the arena now with Frodo and negotiating the final fence, the final obstacle at 7. All these obstacles timed individually. And moving away now, having taken the final turn at fence 7, Marie Schiltz is now home and in the clubhouse.
Obstacle number 2, which has taken a few prisoners already today.
Yeah, we're back with Fabrice Martin and Lanzarno, Yenny HN, ranked number 2 coming here, so one of the major players. 48.06, behind the score of 42.77 of our leader overnight after the first two phases for Belgium, Laura Philippot.
Okay, he'll be looking to leave, make sure he doesn't hit any. Well done. That's fast and clear through obstacle 2. Another starter into obstacle 1, which is Claire Lefort, one of the another very fast French driver. I think competing here as an individual. Very quickly out of obstacle 1.
Yes, just the 3 team members for each of the teams, each of the 10 teams here. Number of the nations, or several of the nations, competing with just a single competitor, including the United States of America and Great Britain.
The great slow motion of Joep Gommers for the Netherlands. This horse really puts power into each stride.
So as we enjoy those slow-mo pictures of Joep Gommers for the Netherlands, we're back with all the live action as we see the next to power through the water. Picking up, in fact, the acceleration through the water, then up the hill as they meet the gradient before turning sharp right. And the driver aiming there for no loss of speed or forward momentum whatsoever. And it is Stefan Ulrich and Pamino U at fence number 6. The penultimate of the 7 obstacles on this marathon, the 3rd and final phase of the CAIO 4-star single horse carriage driving competition.
Obstacle number 3. We have Fabrice Martin. He's picking up the speed now.
Huge encouragement from the crowd for the home contender, Fabrice Martin for France. Lanzano is the horse. Ranked number 2 coming into this final phase.
Well, he's kept the pressure on the others, hasn't he?
He certainly has.
And gives the horse a nice pat, says thank you. Whoa, oh, big jump in there.
Yeah, pressure on. We've got our leader who has a bit of a cushion. We have our leader, Laura Philippot, coming in 9th from the end.
And the Spanish girl into obstacle number 7.
Ana Munoz Fernandez with Sonny Boy W. 16th coming into this final phase.
No, backsteppers doing a proper job here. A very jolly trot.
It is.
Slightly lost a little bit of initiative. And right around this box, and then she's done. Now she's finished. Out she goes.
In between the two, finally between the two elements of that final obstacle and home. Jean-Michel Olive, Sinamari, we saw this combination. Power through the first water. Ranked 22 coming into this final phase, 68.53. Their first 2 phase combined scores. And in this competition, which will be, I think, different to next year because it is a championship, we had the marathon as the final phase and the cones as the second phase yesterday.
Yes. Well, watching Jean-Michel Olive, he never once lost a canter stride. Cantered the whole way through that. Absolute masterclass.
So the French enjoying that, both the competitor and the crowd.
Into obstacle 1, and horse isn't quite sure which direction he's been asked to go, and slightly offering their own opinion. We can't see the number. We're not quite sure who it is yet.
Hopefully we'll be able to bring you that news quickly. Fairly nippy little horse.
Oh, it's very quick.
Wow, great turn.
Again, keeps up the power.
Well, unfortunately, still not able to see that number and bring you details of that competitor, but it was certainly impressive. Very quick, very efficient through that obstacle. Great first, great slow-mo pitch and pictures once again.
How close he got to that cylinder.
And yet kept the forward momentum.
Really kept the gallop going, didn't he?
Same again through the canard, the duck, or round the canard. Just look at the concentration on the horse. For France, once again, back with those live pictures.
Jean-Michel Olive. We're expecting this to be very quick. And not just keeping a canter, keeping a quick canter. Then accelerating into a gallop, down into the water, around these two influential boxes, close to the crowd. No worries there.
This is a fine specimen of a horse, Cinnamore.
That's the best yet we've seen, I think, through that obstacle 6.
Yep, certainly as good as any we have seen as they power away from the elements of that obstacle through the water.
This will be interesting. Joep Gummers, one of the Dutch team, with a very powerful horse. Just had a little loss of balance on the way up the hill, so has skid back slightly, not quite as fast as he might have been, to regain the horse's confidence. Interesting, that, isn't it?
Joep Gummers with Herman Nooy on the back, and these grooms, backsteppers, playing such a vital part in all phases of the competition, James.
Oh, absolutely, very influential. They maintain the balance and hopefully keep the carriage off the posts. This horse is not so easy to drive. Every now and then he gives a big jump, so it puts out of balance, only because he's offering so much. Here we are, obstacle 2, this really quite tight technical one with a number of dislodgeable elements. In fact, there are 6. We've seen one of them disappearing quite a few times this morning.
2 penalties added for every of the dislodgeable elements that is displaced.
Well, he's clear through there.
Or turning round and having a chat with somebody.
Oh, very often the driver will say thank you very much as they leave an obstacle.
Courtesy, as always, here in the world of equestrianism. How fabulous to see. Stefan Ulrich and Pimino Yu, they now are undertaking their final obstacle of the marathon and their final challenge of the CAIO 4-star single carriage driving competition.
On that score, I should say that the competitors, the chefs to keep, the owners, everyone really appreciates the amount of effort and time that the organisers and all of the volunteers allow us to have such a fantastic competition.
Yes, well said, James. And that goes for both the eventing and, of course, the single carriage driving here at Les 5 Étoiles de Pau here in the southwest of France, as Joep Gummers and Bandit are once again back into view.
Every now and then the horse gives a big stride, which is less easy to balance and direct like there. It's less easy to keep balanced. Oh, dear, oh dear. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, this, I think, well, we'll just hope that everything is okay there. Before the horse unfortunately went down, I was about to say this is the first time we've actually seen a carriage partly tilted. So we'll hope everything is fine there.
Well, yes, indeed.
What I will say is that, as I said yesterday in the eventing, is that horse welfare is at the top of everybody's agenda in all equine disciplines.
Oh, absolutely. I second that. It is at the very top of our agenda, horse welfare.
So we're back at fence number 3, back at the water.
We're not sure who it is. I think this is the one we didn't find the number on obstacle 1. Very smooth, very quick. And you can see on the back of the carriage, behind the driver, the instructions that the backstepper can read on the way round.
This is Mario Gandolfo for Switzerland. We switch once again.
To obstacle 4.
So much of the action being brought to us as we move from obstacle to obstacle. We're now at fence number 4.
This horse has lots of power and acceleration. I think it might be Claire Lefort, which would be number 22. Yep, it is Claire Lefort. This is a very big horse, really big, powerful, moving horse.
Yes, once again, highlighting the differences in the types of horses, the breeds of horses that come forwards in this single carriage driving championship, in this single carriage driving competition. As we see another French competitor, Jean-Michel Olive and Cinemari, ranked 22 coming into this final phase, now negotiating the final obstacle at number 7.
And see the horse is still cantering, accelerating into a gallop, canter, doesn't lose any momentum, never once hesitates. That's how he's so quick. But in order to do that, the driver mentally has to be ahead of the horse. That's a fantastic round. He'll be pleased with that.
What a way to finish. Acknowledges the crowd clap and applaud in return. Jean-Michel Olive and Cinemari. Super final phase. They've had a super marathon.
Number 2 again, which is quite tight and almost like a maze. Françoise Dubois for France. Again, springy. The horse is cantering all the time, really, really turning. Very short, very quick.
Schnapp Dubrach, the horse.
Look at that. Another French competitor keeping up the power, and she was very careful not to hit that ball on the way out. So clear there in obstacle number 2.
We are watching the world's best here at the CAIO 4-star single horse carriage driving competition in at Les 5 Étoiles de Bar here in the southwest of France. You've just seen another master class, and how good is this to see the a great outcome from the unfortunate incident we saw a few minutes ago. Horse on its feet, away from the carriage.
Spinning head collar, and yep, all really well handled.
Superbly. There is always a procedure. The veterinary surgeons will be on hand immediately that happens, as with any other equine sport incident. Great to see the horse on its feet.
Absolutely. Here we see Claire Lefort on her way from obstacle 4 to 5. There's the French chef de keep leading the Dutch horse out.
Huge applause, and quite rightly so.
An incident like this, everyone helps. That's the French chef de keep with the Dutch horse.
Yeah, with Bandit, the French horse, and with the Bandit, the Dutch horse, and Joop Gommers fine, as well as is Herman Noy, the groom.
Now here we have Claire Lefort on obstacle 5, the hill, and she's going to use her horse's power to get up and over as quick as possible. French drivers, they love speed. Getting lots of encouragement from the local crowd. That's very quick indeed. The 2 is there. We've got for Holland. Saskia Siebert is in obstacle number 2. Very experienced driver, part of the Dutch team that's in currently in 3rd place and very close behind Germany and France.
Yes, Germany in 2nd place on 101.43, the Netherlands on 104.7. Very close at the top, and even closer, of course, between France, who lead in the team standings on 101.14, and in 2nd place, Germany on 101.43. Just nothing between them at the top.
Nothing at all. Being very careful on the exit there to obstacle 2, not to knock anything down.
Saskia Siebert and Garant. That was the horse we've just seen with John Castellin on the back step in this marathon final stage of the 3 phases of the 4-star carriage driving.
Very, very quick into obstacle number 4.
Mario Gandolfo and Hakam Du Senu, the Swiss combination.
That would be costly. He missed a turn to the right and had to go left and reapproach. So that's valuable seconds ticking away. And at this stage of the game, can't afford to lose any seconds.
Rank 13 coming here into this final phase. The Swiss carriage team, single carriage team. Well, now the little, I believe this is the little Cremelle stallion.
It's definitely for Italy.
It is Capricoso driving or pulling Luca Casutano and the groom, ranked 20th, coming into this final phase for Italy through the elements of fence number 1.
How quickly he turns, doesn't lose any power, any impetus, and accelerates after the turn. It's very quick.
Magnifique, another giving a great show through our obstacles, this time obstacle number 1. Now Claire Lefort for France. We saw Claire just a short while ago, this time with Edouard. Combined first 2 phase score, 62.63 at fence number 6, the penultimate of the 7 obstacles on this marathon for the driving, the 3rd and final phase. The marathon, the equivalent to the cross-country in eventing.
Well negotiated, that most influential of
continuing
cylinders.
to go well. Great support once again for one of the home contenders on French soil. 42 now, Saskia Siebert for the Netherlands. With Garant, one of our top 10 placings, in fact in 10th place after the first 2 phases.
And she won't know how her teammate fared earlier on. This is very, very quick.
John Castellin on the back was a groom for a number of years, Saskia Siebert, before driving herself, starting that in 2009. Dutch champion 2015, 16 and 17. So a wonderful profile at the top of the sport for Saskia Siebert.
And at obstacle 5, Making full use of the horse's power and willingness to go forward. At times it takes a little bit of balance, and the horse has lost a little bit of confidence now, having slipped a little bit there.
Yep, we are with Mario Gandolfo and Hakam Du Senu, the horse pulling Mario and groom. Rich applause ringing out in the country as another of our competitors negotiates another of these very, very technically difficult obstacles.
The little Italian horse.
The little Cremello entire Capricorso at the front of the carriage with Luca Casatano in the driving seat.
Yeah, how smooth that is. It's a smaller horse, so the turns are easy. Because this obstacle 2 is very tight.
Absolutely terrific.
Yeah, very impressive indeed.
Well, we talked about those voice commands earlier on. Those voice commands absolutely crucial and critical in the world of horse driving. And we saw that to the fore there from our Italian competitors, encouraging and the horse not just listening to the encouragement, but actually gaining instructions from the driver.
Another starter here.
Well, this is our leader overnight after the first 2 phases on that score of 42.77 with a little bit of a cushion between herself, Laura Philippot for Belgium, and Fabrice Martin for France on that score of 48.06.
Well, she's just showed us what acceleration this horse has. This is a serious contender. She'll be pushing for a win.
And that acceleration to the fore there, moving away from the first obstacle. And the driver really having to sit up and stop the horse.
Yeah, she really means business. Into obstacle 7, Fabrice Martin for France. He's been very quick on some of the obstacles we've seen. And he's quick here again.
This is the carriage that is in second place that I was just alluding to. Fabrice Martin, Lonzarno, 48.06 their score against that score of 42.77 from Laura Philippot.
And sadly his steering just went very costly, had to do an extra circle.
Such are the slight margins of error that make all the difference, particularly at the highest levels of sport, the 4-star, the highest level of single carriage driving.
This little horse really loves his work. Just gallops straight into the water. No hesitation whatsoever.
Luca Casatano turning left around the white canard duck with the green spruce beautifully adorned within the body of the swan itself, of the duck itself. Those 2 ducks used yesterday on the 5-star eventing track.
You can see there that the sheer weight of the drag of the carriage was slowing a little horse down.
Yes, and we talked about this yesterday. There are perhaps not fors and against, but there are strengths from a big horse and strengths from the smaller horses. And you could see there the drag coming into play with the smaller horse.
Indeed.
Claire Lefort and Edouard once again
with a much bigger horse.
Much bigger horse, a fine example of the difference as they once again receive the applause, and they will receive the applause for the final time on course as they complete obstacle number 7. Back now at the opposite end of the course and at the first obstacle. Certainly picking up, another to pick up the acceleration, going in between the 2 upright rustic posts that exit that fence number 1.
That was Franz Schiltz, a very, very smooth.
So we are into the final 10. Well, into the final 10 now.
Our view over obstacle 4.
So just waiting for our next horse to come into view at one of the obstacles, one of the 7 obstacles. The crowd building all the time.
We can see the horses going in the background there. They're making their way from one obstacle to another, and they do pass by each other. They have a circuit to do.
You can see the road as well running alongside the Demain de Serre here. One of the intriguing features of the location of Les 5 Étoiles de Pau. François Dubois and Schnapp de Brèche now.
Total score for Claire Lefort is 330.98 seconds through all the obstacles. 39.01
This is the
obstacle. 82.5
penultimate of the, in fact, the 2 more French competitors to come forward after Françoise.
Yeah, don't cut the corner.
Just glancing the side of that challenge at obstacle number 6.
That was very smooth. She'll be very pleased with that. See the spray coming off.
Gal in the 5th.
Laura Philippot in obstacle number 2, giving a masterclass on how to gallop and turn. She's currently in the lead, and she looks like she means to keep hold of it. Backstepper having to hold on tight as she exits the water over that mound.
And an example, another example of a horse that we could see in different disciplines, the leading horse. Saskia Siebers and Garant, we now see ranked number 10 coming into this final phase for the Netherlands.
We can see the like Laure and Saskia's horse, when they ask for acceleration, they get instant.
Le pauvre, on le fait attendre. On le fait attendre alors qu'il vient de courir.
Le track numéro 3 peut encore se rattraper. Ceci dit, elle avait un petit peu d'avance quand même
C'est bon ?
classement individuel.
Alors bonjour Jean-Michel, on fait vite, il est pressé de partir, donc tu es champion du monde de marathon, tu devais arriver avec des attentes, est-ce que tu es content de ce marathon aujourd'hui ?
Oui, je suis content, surtout que le début du concours n'était pas forcément top pour nous, on n'a pas été très performants, donc je suis content au moins d'avoir réussi une épreuve.
Bon, super. Bonne journée, bonne continuation, à très bientôt sur ce concours de Pau.
So another really interesting interview as the commentators out in the arena, just outside the arena, catch the drivers as they finish their final phase. And we're back with fence number 1 again, out in the country. Obstacle number 1.
Yes, again, a really quick round, a good start.
And now back into the arena. The final obstacle of the 7 here in the arena at Pau. You can see the show jumps in the background there. They will be repositioned for the final phase of the 5-star show jumping this afternoon. It is, however, the final stages of the marathon that we are continuing to turn our attention to as the excitement builds in this 4-star single carriage horse driving competition. The world's leading riders here, and we see Mario Gandolfo and Hakam Dussenu for Switzerland, ranked 13 coming into this final phase. We have our overnight leader out on course after the first 2 phases. That is Belgium's Laura Philippot, who goes well, as did Mario Gandolfo through the final challenges on this marathon.
Saskia Siebers back into the water again. This is obstacle 6, where her teammate had an unfortunate finish to his marathon. See the acceleration, she asks him to go, and go they do. Great close-up shots of Saskia, the rein handling, the turning.
And James giving expert commentary, as he has throughout the morning and did yesterday for the cone phase.
Little wobble there on the way into the water. Well driven, that first cylinder. Right into the crowd, back again into the crowd. Gave it a nice wide berth and gallops out. She'll be pleased with that. And obstacle 3. Almost a speed wobble there. Franz Schiltz.
Franz Schiltz with Sanremo Royal. First two phase combined score of 61.1.
And here we see the difference. This horse with a load of power. The water hasn't really affected its gaits at all. It's kept up the power the whole time. This is really quick.
No lack of rhythm or forward momentum there whatsoever, and yet in a wonderful sequence without jolting forwards in any way. Super shots there of a really good passage through the water. Fence number 7 once again, obstacle number 7. There are 7 obstacles on this final phase of the 4-star carriage driving the marathon, and it is François Dubois and Schnapp Dubrecht who are negotiating the elements, weaving their way in and out of the challenges set by our course designer. And we were saying earlier, James, about technical, just nudging that challenge there, the technical challenges that have been set really commensurate with the level of world-class driving and drivers we're seeing here.
Oh, absolutely. The test that our course designer has put up for these horses and drivers is world-class. And we noticed how the speed that François Dubois was going in obstacle 7, the back of the carriage was swinging a lot, and that happened when it pushed into one of the boxes and lost momentum.
Well, we're back with the little Cromello stallion, Capri Rosso, driven by Luca Casutana for Italy. And we were impressed with this combination.
Yes, they were very quick. What had taken a little bit of toll on him was the first water, and he's just done 5, so his next obstacle will be the second water. It'd be quite interesting to see if he can maintain a gallop through it.
Yes, and we were saying that it's the small, a little bit of a stumble there from the little Cromello, but we were saying it's the smaller horses that just find it more difficult through the water because of the drag from the carriage as they go through.
Absolutely, and all of these carriages have a minimum weight.
Well, shots of our spectators enjoying themselves in the marquee, one of a number of marquees set around the cross-country course and the marathon course for the 4-star carriage driving today, down by the water. And we go back now to fence number 1, obstacle number 1, and Rudolf Pessmann with Diesel, the only coloured horse in the field for this 4-star carriage driving. And what a score they bring forwards, 49.14, rank number 3 after the first 2 phases, just behind Fabrice Martin and France, who were in second place overnight with that score of 48.06. Just a reminder that Laura Philippot for Belgium on a score of 42.77, the leader overnight after the first 2 phases, the dressage and the cones here in the main arena yesterday morning.
And back to our Italian competitor in obstacle 6. He'll drop down after these two boxes, drop down into the water.
Through obstacle number 5 in a time of 50.77.
And onto obstacle 5.
This is not Luca Casatana.
Laura Philippot, our leader.
This is our leader. This horse with just losing
He's
a bit
really
of
quick.
footing, but quick, but with a magnificent rhythm, both in the trot and the canter. And the acceleration away, James.
It's just superb. No seconds given away. Into obstacle 7, is Saskia Skibers.
Saskia Siebers and Garant swinging around that box at fence number 7.
He'll be endeavouring to go as fast as possible and as balanced as possible.
Well, back with the water. You can see the groom at the back there on the foot plate. Really making the balance count, swinging now onto the other side as they swing left-handed around the canard, the duck. Back the other way around the canard.
Keeping up a good gallop all the way through. I think it's Michael Barbie for Switzerland.
Yes, the red would probably denote that. The red colours. In fact, the cross on the back, telling us it was the combination from Switzerland.
This is Marie Tischer into obstacle number 1.
And Marie Tischer Fortino at 1.
One of the German team that are currently lying in second place. Another young driver. We're expecting her to be very quick on the marathon.
And James, do you expect more and more younger drivers to come through in this sport?
Thankfully, yes, we have more and more younger drivers coming through. In Great Britain, we have a whole rank of them coming through, which is marvellous.
Very encouraging to hear. Well, the horse slowing down because it has finished that first phase. Has finished that first obstacle. All the obstacles are timed independently. What a picture of this horse. I am so impressed with our leader's horse. The Belgium combination with Laura Philippot driving.
Power, the acceleration.
Galan, the fifth,
balance.
the horse. You get the feeling this horse could do anything.
Do actually. This horse is extremely talented and very, very willing horse. And yeah, he backed off the crowd a little bit as well.
Just a little.
So as a consequence of that, she took this one wider.
And then darted to the left. You could see at the last millisecond, darting to the left to negotiate that box.
Here we have Rudolph and Diesel with you can see the power that Rudolph has around those turns. The carriage fishtailing at the back. He's going so fast.
Alors bonjour Claire, on peut dire maintenant que tu joues presque à domicile puisque ça fait quelques éditions que tu nous rends visite. Comment ça s'est passé pour toi aujourd'hui? Comment a été le cheval?
Ça s'est très bien passé, Ed était super, il était bien énergique, il répondait bien, donc je suis très contente de lui. Donc pour moi je suis contente.
Bon super, on est content aussi alors. Bonne continuation et à très bientôt.
Back to obstacle 2, Marie Tischer for Germany. This very, very tight obstacle requiring lots of power and lots of accurate steering and obedience from the horse.
Marie Tischer with Fortino, Marie Ilg and Foucault Strasner, the two grooms for Marie over the 4 days of competition here in Pau.
Another one making the exit from obstacle 2 without knocking any balls down. And into obstacle 4. It looks like Michael Barbie.
Yeah.
For Switzerland, in a big horse, a big moving horse.
Calo de Arenay, the gelding, the big bay gelding at fence number 4.
Keeping the revs up. Looking very good indeed. Look at that turn. Then another right turn. Then sharp left and gallop out.
A driver who started competing in 2006 with his horse at the time, Solo, this time with Calo de Arenay. Back into the arena. And it is the little Spanish, the little Italian entire Capricorso with Luca Casatana driving.
I think the horse has got a little tired. You can see he's not taking the reins forward, so he's less easy to steer.
But what a terrific job this little horse has done.
Yes, as a consequence, the driver has to go wider than he ought to for a really speedy round.
Well, that round is now complete. They have negotiated all the boxes of fence 7. The Italian crew now home through those finishing flags. Well, what a picture of what I would imagine are two, I was going to say Frisians, possibly not, but what a super picture of those two black, possibly Frisians, pulling the carriage here in the park at Les Demandes de Serre. We wait for our next competitor to come into view, and it is competitor number 7.
Franz Schiltz, 37.
37 it is. I didn't see the 3 in front. Franz Schiltz.
Just gone through the start, through the gate into obstacle 6. Galloped up the hill towards these 2 boxes. 2 or 3 boxes.
Sanremo Royal, the horse. First 2 phase combined score of 61.1.
Well, a fast showing here could bring him up the rankings quite a way. And this is quick. Stayed nicely away from that box. And a big gallop around, stayed quite wide. That's a masterclass.
A treat to behold as we now move to our overnight leader, who has also given us a masterclass over the 7 or 6 obstacles thus far, now undertaking the 7th obstacle, a Galant the 5th, the bay pulling Laura Philippot, the driver for Belgium. Overnight leader.
Laura has a little moment of hesitation there once, so it's going to be, could be very costly. This is the last obstacle, so there's lots in her brain. Round the last box to the right, and a gallop out. And this horse can gallop.
And with groom Jean Sarlot on the back, Laura Philippot is through that timing to finish the 3 phases of the carriage driving 4-star competition.
Marie Tischer in obstacle number 3. Some centrifugal force around that tree. The back of the carriage swinging wide. But yet another horse has come into the water, and the drag has slowed him down. And the atmosphere. And this huge atmosphere here can overwhelm some horses.
Winner of the Youth Championships in 2012 and 2015, Mauritisha for Germany.
She's found the gallop again. She'd be pleased with that.
A very accomplished young driver, James.
Very, very indeed. With someone galloping into obstacle number 2. And they're keeping the revs up round that really sharp turn.
And that competitor is Tony Egal, with Hassima pulling the carriage. KH4 France.
I expected this to be really, really quick. And word has definitely gone back to the start about the 2 balls on the exit for obstacle 2, how many times they were knocked down. So notice the drivers are being very careful. If you watch now, very careful, just there, not to make the same mistake. Yeah, very quickly driven.
Yes, noticeable how we've seen clean passages on the exit to that obstacle during the most recent drivers.
Yeah,
Slow-mo pictures of Tony Akal and Hissema KH through this through the obstacle just negotiated.
Slow-mo is fantastic, isn't it? Diesel and Rudolf Pessmann.
Stepping away. Diesel saying, "Look at me," the only coloured in the field, the only coloured horse. Groom waving.
Heading, they are telling the next obstacle that it's them. We're coming into you. Oh, doesn't like the water. Didn't really lose much time on the way in, but needed lots of encouragement.
Certainly needed the confidence from Tony Akal, the horse Hissema.
This is quick.
Yeah, maybe hesitated coming in, but no loss of forward momentum as they continue through the water.
Quick turns, gallop up, out, and round to the left. Still in the obstacle, he needs to keep the pressure up till he goes through the out gate, which is just here.
Tony Akal with Julie Norsch on the back. And back with Diesel.
In the mound, obstacle 5. And Rudolf is using Diesel's power and balance to go absolutely the shortest routes possible.
Rank number 3, 49.14. They are at the 5th of the 7 obstacles, Rudolf Pessmann and Diesel. 49.14, just behind in terms of marks of 48.06, and Fabrice Martin after those first 2 phases.
Well driven, Rudolf.
And from the team standings, the Netherlands in 3rd place overnight.
Here we have Switzerland again into obstacle 6. Penultimate obstacle for Michael Barbie. It is a very strong horse. Loads and loads of power. Another horse we could see doing other things. And down into the water. These 2 influential boxes, giving a little tap, but not, thankfully, manoeuvring and negotiating it well. Then he swings wide for this one. Loses no time at all. That was excellent.
Another excellent view of an excellent negotiation of that obstacle. Well, now we're back in the arena once again. Sanremo Royal stepping out at the trot. Now forwards to the canter. Staying on that left lead, now the right.
The Luxembourg team in 4th place, a very, very close 4th place. He'll be hoping to get closer. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, a good end to the marathon for this combination. Well, Diesel it is through the splashing through the water. Competitors 41. Rudolf Pessman for the Netherlands. Driving the horse Diesel, ranked number 3 after those first 2 phases.
Diesel just waiting for instructions. Now he's got down into the water. These influential 2 boxes, both to the left, facing the crowd. Oh, that was a quick turn. That was a really tight turn. Oh, all is safe.
All is safe as Henry van Veldhuizen on the back step now goes to his feet, having been in the seated position to keep the correct balance through the water. Now at fence 3 once again.
You know, in carriage driving there aren't any jumps. Well, this one jumped into the water. Luckily kept going straight.
Obviously saying to his driver, I fancy a go at these cross-country fences.
Well, for sure. Cristiano Cividini for Italy.
So with Cristiano Cividini in our sight for the first time, it means that we have 2 more to come after that. Taleviki Järvinen for Finland and Marion Vinot for France.
So, hello Saskia. So, you just told me that your horse is a young horse. How was he today?
Super, super. It's an 8-year-old and it's his first big competition. So he was a little, whoa, what's everything, and the water and the people were shouting. He's not used to that, but he was a little scared, but he did really super. He has every hazard, he was really good and forward, and yeah, it's we are not used to so many publicum. So yeah, it's very nice. It's as if you are the world champion when you are driving here. So that's very nice.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day and enjoy Po weather. Alors, un jeune cheval pour Saskia Siebers qui nous dit que c'était nouveau pour lui, nouveau pour eux, beaucoup de public et ils sont très contents. Ils n'ont pas l'habitude, mais ils sont très contents de leur marathon. Voilà.
We have our last contender on the course in obstacle 1, Marion Vigneault from Chablis in the centre of France. Very quick out.
Well, we're now very much back in the arena. And it is the carriage team from Switzerland, Michael Barbie and Carlo de Arnay. The final encouragement from driver to the horse as they pass in between the timing equipment to finish their 3rd and final phase, the marathon of the 3 phases of the 4-star single carriage driving competition here at Les 5 Étoiles de Pau. And what a way to end the autumn, or the season here, the outdoor season in Europe, both for the 5-star eventing and the 4-star single carriage driving. The uniqueness of Pau, eventing and carriage driving at the highest level, 4-star in eventing and 5-star, correction, 4-star of course in carriage driving and 5-star in eventing. Those stars in the eventing having all moved up 1 notch in 2020. The 4-star, as it was last year and had been for many years, now the 5-star level. The pinnacle of the sport. And this is the pinnacle of single carriage driving, the 4-star. And we now see Marie Tischer and Fortino, ranked number 5, coming in to this final phase with a first 2-phase score of 51.23.
And Fortino just showing a little signs of possible tiredness. He slowed down a little. Marie will encourage him to go quite swiftly into the water for the last time. Valuable seconds ticking by.
Encouragement from both. Groom on the foot pedal, on the footstep, and Marie Tischer, the driver.
Well, we've seen the previous view. keeping up a canter through here. This is very expensive for Marie. She's currently in 5th place. I don't think she'll be holding that.
Yeah, the horse,
I think is overawed by the whole atmosphere.
moving forward, but yeah, it's a big day for a lot of these horses, and that's certainly the case for the fellow we just saw in the water. Okay, fence number 3, we're back at this. The challengers here once again. Tony Akal and Hissima KH, 18th coming into this final phase. Tony Akal for France.
No, this is from Finland. This is Talviki Jarvinen.
Ah, we've, yeah, of course. This has just come up on the screen.
Our penultimate competitor. Out on the marathon in obstacle number 3. He's a big horse with lots of power, but sometimes the canter goes up and down instead of forwards.
Now back into the arena for the Netherlands. It's Diesel once again and Rudolf Pessman. Ranked number 3.
He's had a good marathon so far from what we've seen.
And he's still on the bridle, isn't he?
He's still on the bridle.
On the marathon, 2nd place in the marathon.
Still taking driver and groom forwards in that carriage. Super end.
He'll be happy with that.
For this carriage of Rudolf Pessman and Diesel and Camilla Christiansen. And in fact, Camilla Christiansen is the groom of Talviki Jarvinen, who we will see again very shortly. Well, again, great design. And we see there, once again, the throwback to the North American plains. We saw that with those 2 North American native stations that the horses had to pass between during the 5-star cross-country yesterday afternoon. Throwback to that there. Crowds building all the time here in the perfect conditions of the final day of Les 5 Étoiles de Pau 2019 here in the southwest of France. And it is, in terms of eventing, the final 5-star in the Northern Hemisphere, traditionally the final 5-star, before the 5-star goes down to Adelaide in November. Well, we're back with live action again, and we're back with number
Cristiano
35.
Cividini, yeah, for Italy.
Cristiano Cividini just making his way to the next obstacle,
which we're not quite sure yet. We're waiting to see where he goes.
And for anyone who's just joined us for this 4-star single carriage driving, there is the kilometre of tracks in between every single obstacle, James.
Absolutely, it gives the horse and the driver a little bit of a mental and physical break. Here we have Marion Vigneault, which we expect to be extremely fast, into obstacle number 3. One of the top French drivers. As you can see, more galloping and change of lead. Ah, superb. And still keeping the carriage balanced.
Well, once again, we see the speed and the flair of the French out in the country and on this marathon course. The mud flying as they left the water there and met the rising ground of the turf.
Absolutely, and the acceleration that she can generate. It's world class.
Well, we're back with Marie Tichot once again and Fortino as they meet their final challenge on this final phase marathon. It is fence number 7, obstacle number 7. 7 obstacles individually timed on this marathon course.
And we've seen this a few times, that the horse comes in here. It's very different, huge atmosphere, and just lose a little bit of power, a little bit of impetus. So she's nursing the horse very nicely home. It's not exhausted, mentally a little bit.
It knows what it's done.
It does.
It certainly knows it's been through 7 obstacles of the marathon at 4-star carriage driving level, and now is home. on the mound. The Italian combination of driver and horse Cristiano Cividini and Handro. Ninth coming into this final phase.
A very big moving horse. He's struggling a little bit for balance, losing the hind legs every now and then. Hence he's had to gear back and not go quite so fast. Sometimes with a horse like this, the canter can be less ground covering than the trot. In this case, the canter goes up and down more than a big trot would.
Cristiano, who was introduced to the sport by Dorino Carimanati in 1994, Italian champion on so many occasions. Well, again, great design and artistry out in the country, particularly around the water. Large expanse of water, and you can see there the rustic fence, which is the partition between the lake used by literally swans and geese on it, and the other part which is used for the marathon, for this 4-star carriage driving, and for the 5-star eventing.
With only a few competitors left to complete, all French eyes will be watching Marion Vigneault.
Yes, Marion Vigneault, the final French competitor out on track.
And here we have the Italian going Tavioli into the water. He'll pick up speed just before he goes through the gates into obstacle number 6.
Another fine-looking horse.
Yeah, big, powerful horse.
Andro the horse, Cristiano Cividini the driver.
Got a big horse like this, it's obviously a little less easy to turn sometimes. But very good power, very close to that tree. Guessing the horse is called Handro. Yes, that particular box has been touched a few times today. This one less so, but he's doing a good job on it. But all is good, if a little slow.
Well, now the Finnish team of Talvika Järvinen and Dancer T and their groom on the footplate at fence number 5.
Having a little steering problem up on top of the hill, but all is good now.
Continue to weave their way up and down the mountain in between the boxes, in between the rails that make up the challenges of fence number 5.
Nearly done every gate. Round to the right and gallop out.
And obviously it depends on the rider and the connections and the chef d'équipe or the trainer. How many times would you walk a course at a top level event, James?
At least 3, and as many times as possible, but at least 3.
Well, it is Marion Vigneault and First Quality now who go directly into that plank in front of them. Picked up the right turn again quickly. 6th coming into this final phase, 53.08, their first 2 phase combined score.
You can see this horse is just saying, how fast, how fast, how fast, which way, which way, which way? And the driver has to think ahead of the horse.
Yeah, because this horse, to me, is, I mean, they're all enjoying this, but this is just loving it.
Oh, absolutely.
He went into the barrier and still said, let's have more of this.
I see her looking back, just checking to see she hadn't knocked any of the balls down, because there are quite a few in obstacle number 4.
Yes, some of these obstacles also having situations where further penalties can be incurred by dislodging parts of the box.
The good slow motion along the lake.
It is 35, Cristiano Cividini, whom we see with a smile on his face. There was a moment ago going through that water, concentrating though with his groom stood up on the footplate. You see the drag there and the power required by these horses to take these carriages, the driver and groom, through the water. Up then onto the turf, meeting the rising ground.
So all of this is testing the power, the balance, the fitness. And obstacle number 7.
Tony Akalites at obstacle 7, driving Hisima KH.
Being quite careful, possibly not careful enough. He's just finished and out the outgate.
Special horses to have a blip like that in one of these obstacles and yet continue without questioning the driver. Our next competitor is home.
Talviki Järvinen for Finland.
Dancer T, the horse.
He does dance too.
He does. This horse, who was the second horse, the penultimate horse to come out on course for the marathon, Camilla Christiansen in the groom's position on the footplate.
That was very good indeed. Now she's got the last 2 boxes in this obstacle. Yet again, another horse having a look at the crowd.
Talviki, who had
Huge
known
atmosphere here.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the atmosphere, she'd known Ben Simerson for 10 years before trying to compete herself with her own horse. And then stopped her riding career. Talviki Järvinen.
Losing a bit of impetus there, that will be costly. Marion Vigneault, obstacle 5.
Marion Vigneault at speed, at the canter, weaving her way up and down the mounds and in and out of the challengers at fence number 5.
It's what we expect from Marion is speed.
Well, we've seen that with every one of our French competitors this morning. And wow, this is no exception.
And if one watches the back stepper very carefully, they have a huge influence in keeping the carriage balanced.
Huge round of applause and richly deserved, James, as Marion Vigneault on first quality move away from that. Another masterclass we've seen there.
Oh, absolutely. And she'll be pushing for a medal. In the last obstacle for our Italian driver. Another one to come into this arena, and the horse just backing off a little because there's a huge amount of things to see and hear. And often it's audible that makes the horse, actually affects the horse more than
the visual.
The visual, often, especially you're driving when they've got blinkers, so they are more focused on the driver's voice and other sounds.
Audio, picking up everything that is making a noise around them, as it is Handro, driven by Cristiano Civindini, who is through the finish. The high step of the lovely gelding Handro. Away they go, having completed the 7 challenges of the 7 obstacles here on the marathon of the single driving competition. Shots again out in the park as we come to the closing stages of this marathon, and very soon all the crowd out on course will be flocking here to this main arena to watch the 5-star eventing show jumping this afternoon. Dressage for the eventing, then the cross-country yesterday afternoon, and then the show jumping to complete the long format 5-star.
Just 2 drivers left on the course. Talvika Järvinen to obstacle number 7, and Marion Vigneault to the second water at obstacle 6. And Marion is just approaching into the water. She'll stay nice and balanced until she comes to the gates, and then she will start to accelerate.
Great trot rhythm.
There we go, in through the gate. Very quick. Quick away, quick to turn. You can see how the horse puts his hind legs under and pushes every stride. Always listen completely. This horse wants to go. Now, balance, Marion.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something else. No hesitation.
Magnifique from the French carriage team of Marion Vigneault. First quality of the horse. And Annie Bellour on the back on that footplate, acting as groom over the 3 phases here of the competition for Marion Vigneault for France.
So 1 obstacle left for Marion before completion.
So our final competitor out on course for this marathon, Marion Vigneault and first quality. Just coming forwards to a walk with the final track of approximately 1 kilometre to negotiate, to undertake before negotiating the final obstacle at 7 here in the arena. So that means that for Finland we have our penultimate combination forwards. Driver Talvika Järvinen and Dancer T the horse.
He's putting some power in that this horse is still up for it. So the power in those turns, you can see the carriage flipping to the outside. Keeping up a good gallop. Then a right turn. Another right turn. And now she's finished to gallop out.
So Talvika Järvinen and Dancer T, the penultimate horse and driver on course, are now home. Rich applause from our crowd here at Pau as the sun beams down on us once again.
We've been treated to some superb sport this morning at the CAIO 4-star in Pau 2019.
World class. We've got the very best in the world here, and this a magnificent competition in its own right. But what a forerunner, James, to the World Championships here for the single carriage driving next year.
Oh, absolutely fantastic, and they've got even more ideas they're going to put into place. Yeah, looking forward to it, very much so.
Well, we just wait for our final competitor to come forwards as the crowd wave to the cameras. You are live out there on the course here at Les Cinq Étoiles de Pau. Yeah, new ideas. Yeah, there's new ideas coming forwards all the time, but 4-star carriage driving so well established here already at Pau. What a treat, what a spectacle it is this morning for all of us, sat here around the arena, in front of the screen, or out on the course for this 4-star carriage driving.
So hello Rudolf, yesterday you did a perfect score at the Krohn's course. How was your horse today?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really nice marathon to drive. It was really enthusiastic and we were really going forward and no mistakes in the obstacles, so we are really happy about the marathon.
Very good. Did you enjoy the course?
Yeah, it was a super nice competition. The whole competition, everything is arranged perfectly and it's really nice. The nice obstacles, so I'm super happy with it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Alors Rudolf, très content de ce concours, très content de cette organisation, très content de son cheval aussi qui a été, selon ses dires, parfait sur ce marathon.
Le passage de la Française Marion Vigneault.
And a montage being shown of all the brilliant action this morning from the four-star driving, whilst that live interview was being taking place, and our driver there saying how much they've enjoyed this quite magnificent competition of the four-star single carriage driving. And shots coming through there of number 40, Juppe Gomez for the Netherlands. Now one of the French combinations. It is number 23, Fabrice Martin, we see for France going through the water. Well, now it is our final combination out on course to come into the arena. And we glance to our right, and the combination come directly in front of us here in the arena. Marion Vinon and First Quality. Huge round of applause from the crowd, welcoming one of their home team members. France leading the way in the team rankings after the overnight first two phase scores. Germany in second, the Netherlands in third place. We are away with this final phase.
And yet again, Marion is keeping up a gallop round obstacle 7. This horse loves speed. And how accurate she is. One more box, round to the right. And out she gallops.
Well, I'm sure you can hear the applause live here in the arena for Marion Vinon and First Quality, who have a seamless passage through obstacle number 7. They are the final combination, and that completes the marathon and completes the 3 phases of the 4-star single carriage driving competition. What a 4 days of competition it has been. We look forward so much to the World Championships for single carriage driving here in Pau next year, as we continue once again to see the slow motion pictures. So we see those slow motion pictures once again. Great pictures as the applause ring out once again as our French competitor leaves the arena. Well, we're showing you pictures of the park here at Domaine de Serres. But a reminder that after all the world-class excitement of the 4-star marathon final phase, that it is a 5-star show jumping, eventing show jumping this afternoon. Well, the results looking as though they're coming up shortly. But first of all, I just wanted to say to James Rooney, who's been with me, beside me in the commentating box through the cone phase yesterday here in the main arena and the marathon this morning. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you, James. Your expert analysis has been absolutely superb. We all thank you so much with that. I know you're staying with us right to the very end, but we look forward so much, don't we, to the World Championships next year.
Well, yes, thank you very much indeed, Nick. We do indeed. And what the competition they've just given us, I mean, what we're looking forward to a superb World Championships next year.
And of course, you are the chef de keep for the British competitor here over the 4 days at Pau, and you train our competitor here. We will have a team here next year, won't we? Unfortunately, we don't have a team here this year.
Great Britain will have a team here next year, most definitely.
It is 10 teams that are competing here at Pau for the 4-star single carriage driving. Several countries, including the United States of America and Great Britain, with the sole representatives. And so good that carriage driving in general is on the ascendancy, James, particularly with the younger drivers coming through. We look forward to the indoor circuit, the World Cup circuit, alongside the show jumping and the dressage, and the excitement, equal excitement, and the speed that those four-horse teams get up to in the major indoor arenas around Europe.
Oh, for certain. They're starting up very, very soon, in the next few weeks. The next one I'll be going to will be Olympia in London. Looking forward to that very much indeed.
Yeah, the London International Horse Show in December, just before Christmas. And what a show that continues to be with that World Cup qualifier for the show jumping. And as James was saying, the 4-team carriage driving indoor world championship leg at Olympia. Well, you're looking at live pictures of the scene in the main arena. You can still see the boxes there for the final challenge on the single driving carriage marathon. And the show jumps for this afternoon's 5-star eventing will be put into place when those boxes have been moved. The scores will be with you very shortly. Here they are. So it is Laurent Philippot and Galan V who take the win for Belgium. They were the overnight leaders with a score of 125.38. Netherlands and Rudolf Pessman and Diesel 130.1. Marion Vinant and First Quality for France 132.57. For France also, Fabrice Martin and Lozano in 4th place 132.74. Annika Geiger and Annabelle 135.38. Stefan Ulrich. And then Michael Barbie and Marie Schiltz. Then we move on in 9th to Mario Gandolfo, Saskia Siebers, Jean-Michel Olive, Marie Tischer, Claire Lefort for France. For Luxembourg, Franz Schiltz, Cristiano Cividini and François Dubon. Now the marathon standings. Tony Ekal 151.32. Luca Castatoni then for Italy. Talvika Järvinen for Finland. Sebastian Murier for France. Also for France, Magali Elo. Anu Munoz Fernandez for Spain. Then Ben Simerson, the next of the Finnish competitors. Kurt Gosler is in 24th place. Lina Kalahati, the next of the Finnish competitors in 25th. Richard Fair for France. Louis-Marie Malbert for Belgium. Mathieu Cremella, then Jessica Watcher. Then we have Annette Jonsson for Sweden. And then the 2 French competitors, Didier Mathis and Benoit Vernet. And as we continue with the standings for the marathon, we see Francois Ballester-Mellot in 33rd. Then Lucy McGill for Great Britain on that score of 170.41 with Zorano. Vineth Dobretsberger, then Maureen Thibault-McCaw. Jonathan Mayer, then Marcy Quist and Yossi Salana Marti, and then Marcelo Torlisis. Then we move to Katia Mornier-Maraney, Michel Vino, then Etienne Luez, then Oop Gomez and Andrea Dorpetes. Well, join us at 14:50 for all the live action from the 5-star show jumping here at Po. From James Rooney and myself, this is Nick Wood saying thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to seeing you again very, very shortly.